I said, there we go.
There we are. Hey, everybody, come on in. Come on in. The chat is open.
Mm-hmm.
Please talk to us. Come on.
Oh.
It's all there. I don't know if HR's in the house, so maybe Frog G will be in the background putting on some links. We'll see how it goes. Welcome, everybody. Come on in. It's a ZimmCast for the 27th of July. We're starting here at 9 p.m. next time, and from here on out, we're going to be an hour earlier. We're going to be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time just to get a jump on the clock and to try to open up some of the more late-night podcasters out there that like to broadcast at 10 or so. We need to do, I was just telling Luke, I think it was, that we need to do a late night broadcast. Because everybody who is in this business keeps weird hours anyway. And a lot of times you want something to listen to at 2 a.m. that might actually try to keep you up and awake.
Called Ragin' Late Night.
Ragin' Late Night. That sounds good. I like it. Come on in, everybody. We're going to roll the opening. I had an opening already laid out, and I don't know if I want to run it. So it was another hee-haw opening. So instead, we'll just kick it over with the old countdown.
There we go.
We'll save that other opening for another time. As soon as I find it here. Here we are. It's the ZimmCast, everybody. Come on in.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go.
The cops are doing their job as long as they don't be mean to people who are actually being innocent. Then I'm all gravy, baby.
It's an all gravy baby day.
There you go.
Come on in, folks. I think Pops is in the house. He says, hey, yo.
Hey.
Hey, yo, Pops, come on in. It's that Wednesday night time again, time to talk comics. I'm your host, Randy Zimmerman. I've been a long-time alternative and independent comics producer for quite a while. Publisher, creator, done a lot of everything. Freelanced for a while, self-published and under many different company brands, worked for many different alternative and independent comics companies, retailed for over 10 years, met my wife while I was retailing, coordinated conventions for over 10 years. In fact, I'm still coordinating conventions because I got the wife's permission. So, hey, guess what? I guess we're going to do. Ted Davies in the house. Says, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, superheroes is what he says. Ted, do you want in?
Hey, Ted, how's it going? Hey, Pops.
Hey, Pops, how you doing? Grant Lankard's in the house. Hey, kids, he says. Hi, Ink. Pops said.
Yeah.
Is that your name? Your code name, Ink?
Ink? Well, that's my cat's name, Ink.
Oh, Ink. Oh, okay. Your cat. Cool. My cat looks almost exactly like your cat, but we call him Swiffer. So when he was young, he used to crawl into the furniture and come out with all sorts of dust bunnies.
That's funny.
So we were going to call him Yeti, but nope. Swiffer was definitely his name. So anyway, joining me tonight is Christy Shin. Christy, introduce yourself.
Hi, I am the creator of Demon Bitch, and I have Horror Tour Studios. You can see my link tree right over there. I live in Los Angeles, and Ink's lying there being lazy. I just came back from San Diego Comic-Con. It was great.
Oh, we'll get into more detail on that here in a minute. Also joining us tonight is Mr. Mitch Rogers. Mitch,
Hello.
Introduce yourself.
I am Mitch Rogers, a horror comic writer and artist from South Carolina. I'm the creator of the Boger horror comic book series. And that's it. I always forget. Yeah, I never know when to stop talking.
No, that's you're fine. As long as you're done speaking, that's when you stop talking.
Okay.
So, Anyway, I sent out a bunch of other links tonight. Thought we had some guests lined up, but apparently not. So, hey, come on in, everybody. Let's talk. If you got something to talk about, run it in the chat. Let's talk. Let's talk. I've got a few things we can talk about, but most of all, I want to hear how San Diego Comic-Con went. Christy, let us know.
It was crazy busy. Good. I got a shirt, Alex Pardee shirt. That's the official shirt. Apparently, there's a lot of bootlegs flying around.
Awesome,
James
I love
Gunn,
him.
James Gunn, I guess, kind of made famous when he wore it during one of the panels. I don't know if it was this year or the other year, but yeah, I got that. And then I sold Demon Bitch, and Demon Bitch did really well. I sold out of frickin' what was it? Sold out of, let's see, I sold out of Murder of Crows, Personal Monsters, She Sucks, one of the Demon Bitch books. And then I sold out of, there was a fourth one. I think I sold out of 3 or 4 of those guys. Oh, Sepulcher. I sold out of Sepulcher. It was there. It was lit. Like literally, I could not go to the bath. I could only go to the bathroom. And literally people, like when I would try to even walk the floor. And I've been at where it's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was insane. So, I mean, at least like some of the people said, oh yeah, I'll pick up my Kickstarter rewards. And only half of them did because they were just so busy. Everybody was so busy. And it was pretty cool. It was great. Yeah, there you go. Triggered.
Yeah.
And I sold some copies of Trigger, but She Sucks was like the big bookseller in there. It was crazy.
Cool. And how long has She Sucks been out?
It's been out, I think. I'm trying to remember. I think it printed out since 2018, so 3 or 4 years. So it seems like some of the books that I've printed out in the past, it's like they've really gotten to a head, and I don't know why. Like I have the first book. The first book was selling like hotcakes, and then the She Sucks like sold out. Like that's been the most popular freaking book I've sold. I need to order more. Some people actually ordered it online, so I've let them know I have to order it. So as soon as I get an order date, that's fine. I've just been resting for the last couple of days. So tomorrow I'm going to start really doing some hardcore business. I had to send off some emails and stuff, but that's about it.
But in other words, you're still recuperating from the con.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry. Didn't mean to.
Well, it was such a mental high, I think, that you kind of crash afterwards, which was kind of weird. It was good.
Just have a constant flow of people, or?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
It was busy. It was kind of strange because it was like usually in the cul-de-sacs they tell people that they needed to go and sit the fuck down or something, and they would just shoo them out of the cul-de-sacs. They didn't do it this time. So went and applied for another one. They made it easy though because we could email them now. So I have to like re-verify my professional things. That's what I got to do. And Grant is asking me, would you recommend doing San Diego Comic-Con? And I said, I would personally, yeah, if you know how to do it, but you need to really plan for it because it's turned itself into a kind of monster on that, you know.
I tell everybody that they need to go they really need to go at least once, but know that you have to prepare for it. Not just logistically, not just making sure you have your hotel rooms because they sell out in like 15 minutes, the surrounding hotels. Get your hotel room together, get your however you're going, flight, rent a car, whatever, you have to have that in advance. Yeah. Plan ahead, leave yourself a day once you get there to get it acclimated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dan Playboy, Boob Down Art visited me at my booth. He came and picked up some things. Yeah. So he's Evening Friends. He's cool. He's like one of my longtime local fans. Sorry. But yeah, it's like the whole thing in itself.
But yeah, it's definitely, it's more than worth your time to go if you're in this industry to go to San Diego at least once, if only just to walk around and go, where's all the comics?
Yeah, the thing is that you either have to do exhibit hall H, or exhibiting. You can't really run off and do panels.
Or you can't attend them either if you have a table, unless you have somebody watching your table. And you have to plan ahead. You have the lines for Hall H are always incredibly long. I haven't been there since like 2003.
Yeah,
I think that's the last San Diego con I did.
I've been attending since 2009, I believe.
So next year will have been 20 years. So it doesn't seem that long ago. But it was always an adventure all the time. I did 3 years running as a gopher for Bernie Wrightson. because Bernie Wrightson's reps at the time knew me, and they knew I wanted to go out to San Diego. So this was a way to get me, not just get me out there, but to help Bernie at the same time. But I also had a bit of time to go around and push my own stuff and talk to people and visit and say hello. So it was really good. Got to meet a lot of big people out there.
Yeah. Billy Tucci, I actually managed to get a hold of him, and we actually hung out with his wife, and they're really cool people.
Yeah.
Very nice people.
Yep,
They are.
Billy's one of those really, really nice guys in the industry. So and he'll help you if he can, and he'll point you in whatever direction you need to go. And he's just a good guy. Yeah,
very, very friendly person. I like him a lot.
Yeah, every time I see him, he says, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" So
yeah, it's like he's very personable and shit. You know, that's what I liked. I basically, we all hung out and stuff, and it was kind of crazy. So not crazy, like we all hung out and chilled with a bunch of other people, and it was nice.
Yeah.
Like I actually ended up hanging out more with people. Like people are like, "Oh, party this, party that." I'm like, I mean, I've gotten like personal invites. Oh, let's go drinking and this thing, and it's like after the day, I was like, "Fuck, I'm exhausted. I can't do it." You know.
You get to that point, especially when you're busy at your table, where all you want to do is get something to eat and go back to the room and just decompress for. Well, and then you fall asleep, and you know.
Unless it's a really super exclusive party, I just realized if you're doing business there, it's just like you have a nice dinner, and I found out like a nice little place where it wasn't horribly crowded and horribly expensive, and the quality food, and I'm just like saying my special place, yay.
We all have those out there. So I remember having breakfast one morning at a real little breakfast nook, almost cafe type place outside. It was and it's always beautiful down there. So very rare that it rains or that you get caught in bad weather.
Mm-hmm.
But it's and half of the con is going on outside. At least when I was there, it was everybody sets up different displays, and because there's the fire marshals have been watching the crowd that comes into the show for the last about 10-12 years, maybe not the last couple of years because of the bug has kept the crowds low. Well, 2 years ago they didn't have it at all. They did it online. But
yeah, I mean that was kind of like everybody was like, yeah, whatever. I mean, it's not like we were trying to be jerks about it, but it's like, what can you do? The point of Comic-Con is to be there and get it done.
Yeah. That's the whole experience. That's the cool thing. So yeah, I've only been there about 4 times, but every time I have been there, no, I take that. I was going to say every time I've been there, I've driven, but I haven't. That's always a road trip too. There's nothing like it. I traveled over there the first time I went there with Motor City Comics people, which is a longtime dealer in the Detroit area, and we drove out there with a van and hauling a truck, and we ended up we drove from Chicago Con across the Dells, into the Rockies, down through Yellowstone, and then down to Vegas, and then over to San Diego. It was an amazing trip, and one I'll never forget.
I've never been to San Diego.
Yeah, like I said, you should go at least once, because the experience, not just the experience, because it's huge. Yeah. The last time I was there, and I'm sure they've grown since then, they were 40 aisles deep, or not 40 aisles deep, 5 aisles deep, 40 aisles long.
Huh.
Interesting.
Cool.
They were huge, and it took a half an hour and 20 minutes if you're moving, to move from one wall to the other wall, because I did it when I was chasing after coffee and basically girlfriend for Bernie. And that's the whole time you're bobbing and weaving around people like crazy. So, and then it's like you're walking 4 or 5 steps and you're like, hey, is that David Hasselhoff? You know, and you're moving to the next aisle or next aisle, and you swear that what's his face, the guy who played Hellboy, Ron Perlman walks by. Walked by. When I was there with Motor City, we had Kevin Smith come up to the table and look through some of the comics. That was pretty crazy.
Did he cry, or was that before the crying?
That was before the crying.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a Circle K jacket on. He had just finished Clerks at that point. That's how long ago it was. So I was back when he was just before he was starting to get cool. You know.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go when I was a kid, but like the last 10 or 15 years, the whole con, from an outsider's, from an outsider's perspective, and by outside I mean someone who's not there. It just seems to be more movie centric.
Now it is.
And
yes.
Yeah, and when I go to a comic convention, I want to see comics.
There's a hard mixture of everybody there, and they've had a lot of comic dealers complain over the years that it's getting more and more movie centric, but the studios are starting to peel back a little bit on their exposure, and
hopefully there's some salvation after all.
It's a pendulum swinging, From what I understand, from what I've heard, and I've only attended that con twice, that if you want to go to a real comics con, you go to Heroes World or Heroes Con in Charlotte.
Yeah. I used
Charlotte,
to do
North
that
Carolina.
Yeah.
That's
Just 2
a
hours
comic
away
book
from me.
show. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
they've been
fun.
really, really careful, and they put on a tremendous show. I've never lost money doing that show. Or in San Diego, you really have to be careful. Go as a visitor first before you set up at that show, just to because I can tell you all day that it's a madhouse, but you don't know how crazy it is until you go and experience it once.
Yeah,
that's why I tell everybody you need to go at least once. Go as a visitor, go as a fan, and go and enjoy yourself. Plan on spending the weekend and just go and do it, because it's worth it. It's an unforgettable experience because it's so tremendously big, even with the studios there. And and when I think one of the last times I was there, they had the whole cast of Smallville up in Hall H. That was really cool to see, because I was a big fan of Smallville when it was out. I got to sit in on a couple panels, but the real highlight was watching Bernie work, and being able to sell rights and artwork, mostly production work that he had done for movies. That you had it sitting on the table, and we were watching, everybody as they were walking by. I'll never forget one guy come up, nice suit, you knew he was money. Said, I want a piece of the ideal piece of Bernie Wright's and artwork. And he had a wraparound cover for a Robert Bloch short story collection. And it had everything that was Bernie was on there. Mad Scientist Laboratory, dinosaur. It was just guy in a glass tube. It was done on Duo-Shade board. It was a beautiful, beautiful piece of work. And the guy looked at it and says, yeah. He goes, yeah. He says, how much is that? And I looked at Bernie. Bernie looked up and told me how much. I told him how much it was. He whipped out a gold card right off the bat, and it was a tremendous amount. Yeah. And it went through. Everything was cool. He took his art. He was happy. He took the art. Bernie signed it for him. Took his artwork, and after he left, Bernie leaned over and said, "Dude," he goes, "I owe you, just for that. Thank you." He says, "I owe you." So later on, when we got him back to his apartment, he's living in L.A. Laurel Canyon at the time. In his bathroom, he had a rubber ducky that was a devil. That was the coolest thing I had ever seen. So I'd never seen one before. It's a red rubber ducky with horns and an evil look on his face. And I told him, I love that duck. Where'd you get that duck? I want a duck just like that. He goes, okay. And he just kind of brushed me off. And then he sent me a package like a week or so after the show, once I had gotten home, and the duck was in there, wrapped in a bag. I think if I swing my camera around, I still got it hanging on my wall to this day.
That's pretty cool.
Such a great memento of that experience and that show,
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, San Diego's really worth going, and there's so much that happens there. You can't see it all. You just can't. And especially if you set up 9 times out of 10, you'll be like what Christy said. She left her table to go to the bathroom, and that was about it.
Yeah, it was like crazy. Like, I've been there for the past 4 or 5 years, and I thought it would be crazier. Like, I've gone through really crazy periods pre-COVID, but it's like, no, holy shit, I couldn't fucking do crap.
Well, I think all of the conventions this year are brimming because people are just eager to get out. They've been pent up for a couple of years. They just want to go and experience this again. Plus, while they were down, while everybody was taking that time off to flatten the curve, they were digging into their hobbies, into their old collections and stuff. That's why you saw the collectible market just zoom up. People started actually reading the stuff that they promised themselves they'd read when they got around to it, and rereading the stuff that they loved just to keep their spirits up, because it was such a depressing downer of a time. It's mentally challenging.
I know, like
For me.
I actually found like a little miracles. I really remember the name of the Eisner book, and one of my friends gave me another one. That was like loosely based, I guess, on the creation of Marvel with Will Eisner in a way.
Okay.
Because he talked about Kirby and all them, but he kind of changed the names just slightly.
What was that? What book was that?
Just slightly. Let me actually find it.
Okay. Well, while Christy's looking for that, Mitch, you were going to say something?
I forgot what I was going to say.
Ted Davies says he's super busy tonight, but listening in. Comics Talk already covered that. Strange Marvel theories.
Okay.
We probably need to talk. I love your name, and if you have some strange Marvel theories, I would love to talk to you about them. But Strange Marvel Theories says, hello, ZimmCaster. Strange Marvel Theories is new to the show. We're happy that you're here, unless you just decided to go under an assumed name. Very happy that you're here. Pop says, I'm hitting the road to set up the first ever CromCon table at Savannah Comic-Con. Savannah, also a very interesting place to visit. This is partly your fault, Randy. Partly your fault. Partly my fault. Okay, you'll have a good time. Savannah is a wonderful town. Get the tour, especially if you can get a ghost tour. Lots of ghosts, lots of old buildings down there.
Yeah,
all of the grave sites are above ground.
Yeah, like
very interesting time.
I realize that the American South, the reason why they're very religious, so there's the Bible Belt, and the reason why is there's fucking tons of ghosts and folk magic and all of that shit. Yeah. So it's like if people say, well, it's just the South, they're just a bunch of assholes because they're really religious. That's like, no, you have to understand the culture down there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of folk magic. There's a lot of folk legends. It's not that California doesn't. California's kind of different. But, and there's a lot of ghosts. There's a lot of haunted places. That's why people are like really religious down there.
Well, I think it was a lot more regional than it is now. I think it's like every year that goes by, we seem to lose a little bit more and more of our regional charm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, kind of like more of the internet and globalization.
That's true too.
Yeah. Stuff. I mean, I don't want to say globalization because people use that word to kind of jerk off stupidly about certain things.
Evening
but,
boobs. Yep. Evening boob. Dan Pop says leaving tomorrow. Pop, safe trip. Hope you have a good time. I've got one of my hobbies, I guess you would say, is I collect private or self-published books from different locales, different areas. And I got a couple of books when I was in Savannah. One about the ghosts in the mansion, and I think another one about different sites, historical sites around town. I just love regional books done by regional people, mostly tourist trap type books, but it's always interesting. I've got a great old book on all of the deaths up to that point that had happened at Yellowstone National Park.
Okay.
In fine detail.
Cool. So
it's a great, you should see it, Mitch. It'd be probably up your alley. Minor Miracles.
Yeah, this is my copy.
Wow.
It's mostly, I think, in the Jewish and Italian neighborhoods of New York.
Mm-hmm.
I reread this today. And then my friend gave me this, The Dreamer by Will Eisner.
That's good.
Yeah.
1937.
Yep.
It's basically Bob Kane and Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby also drew for DC, right? I'm thinking he drew for the big two, right?
Kirby went wherever Kirby could, depending upon what stage in his life he was. He was at Marvel for quite a few years and jumped to DC for a couple years and back to Marvel for a few years. And then went independent with anything that he could do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. He was really prolific. But what I'm saying, like, I remember mostly Kirby of Fantastic Four because everybody's always his artwork on Fantastic Four. But I think he also did a lot of Batman, too. So that's what
Kirby.
He didn't do Batman. I'm trying to remember.
No. Kirby did the only Batman Kirby ever drew was in the Superpowers miniseries that Greg Theakston inked. That's really the only time he drew Batman solidly for like an entire miniseries.
So the thing is that what did he do for DC? Because I know he did X-Men. I knew he did Fantastic Four. Those are the two I know.
Well, he did a
New
huge
Gods.
run on Thor when he was over at Marvel.
Thor, that was
he did
Marvel.
all sorts of little things, Avengers to start with, and different things like that. Then he jumped over to DC and did what they called the Fourth World Saga, which was a series of books that he had done. He took over Jimmy Olsen because the sales were really low on that book. So they gave it to Kirby knowing that the sales would jump up. Then he did New Gods, Mr. Miracle, and Forever People. And all of those books, that's Apocalypse and Dark Seed, and where all of those characters all come from. He literally just went way off into his imagination and did some pretty crazy stylistic stuff. When he was at DC, they had no idea what they had. They ended up shutting the Fourth World material down. Then he did Commandy for about 50 issues. And all the while he was trying to get another series off the ground, but none of the other series would last more than 4 or 6 issues. Demon, OMAC. He did Sandman one shot, a lot of one shots that he did that they put together into first issue specials. Did a lot of cover work. Then he jumped back to Marvel in 70, 75, 76 and did Captain America and Black Panther.
And I remember Captain America, Black Panther, not so much. I just remember seeing samples of his work from that.
Yeah.
And DC, I just saw incremental bits. Like
him and Joe Simon were really the creators of Captain America back in the 40s.
Yeah.
So it was really a key character of his. Plus, Black Panther was pretty much his character to start with in Fantastic Four number 52, I think it was.
I've seen mostly Fantastic Four. I'm seeing mostly his work in Fantastic Four, Thor, and X-Men. Because I remember that. I just thought I saw him in Batman, like maybe in some of the things where Batman is slapping Robin, that meme type thing. Where
that's not him. Sorry. No.
I mean, I'm
who
not
was that?
saying he drew the meme, but the panel that was lifted from.
I think that was Infantino and Anderson, wasn't it? If I'm wrong, tell me in the chat, guys.
Like, because it was a very similar style, and by no means am I saying like, oh, they're all the same. There's differences. Like with Jim Lee, there's a definite difference. Liefeld, there's a definite difference.
Oh yeah, Kirby's has a very individual style. Yeah.
Ditko's a different thing. You know, Adams is a different thing, but and Perez is a different thing. But in a way, with some of the guys, they kind of blended together, like Adams and Perez. Like if you hold them side by side, you know they're different.
Yeah.
But at a quick glance, they look pretty similar. Now, I'm not saying they're the same. It's just there's a certain family or thread of artwork or something. So it's
for me, it's all of the guys that emanated Jim Lee when he came in, and there's a whole group of guys after that to me are very hard to distinguish.
With Jim Lee, I kind of can see his difference between Liefeld and him. And McFarlane,
Liefeld stands out anyway.
Liefeld. I mean, everybody shits on his artwork, but I mean, it's actually gotten better because I actually saw some of his artwork at San Diego Comic-Con. He put it up. I follow their Instagrams, like just as an artist, you should in the industry. And he has evolved over time. I mean, I know like it doesn't seem that way because they always showcase his 90s shit, but that's what he got famous for.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, okay, this is his newer shit, you know. Mm-hmm. But, because a lot of times he's selling like older copies or older reprints or some shit like that.
Sure.
But he actually did exhibit, I think, on his Instagram some sketch covers.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
That is cool. And he, like you said, he's evolved over the years. He started out as a wet behind the ears kid, with his own attitude, got real famous. And
jeans, remember in the 90s where.
Exactly.
I don't want to date myself, but I kind of remember that. And I was probably around, I don't want to say the same age range, but maybe kind of.
Well, there was a while that he was a problem, and he did some of the deadlines were blown, and this happened and that happened with his studio stuff. And once he decided he was going to be in this business, he stayed and got straightened out and started hitting deadlines, and has done great runs on different books. I was really looking forward to his Archie run, but I guess he only squeezed out one issue of the Shield and then fell out with the Archie people.
Oh, I didn't know he did Archie for a while.
Really?
Yeah. They were going to let him do the Red Circle superhero characters. Did one issue of the Shield that I've got, and then just disappeared.
Well, I know there was another.
Archie jumps around with those heroes anyway. They've been trying everything. Well, just like they do with Archie, anything that'll stick to the wall, they'll try it and see if it works.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm kind of like, with Todd McFarlane, it's like he's got a distinctive style of his own.
Yeah.
I
He
think
does.
it kind of blends in, sort of like Liefeld and him and Jim Lee kind of blend in together, but you can still kind of tell that they're different. But then again, I know McFarlane's done other stuff, but the most things that I'm very close to that I know are Spawn. I mean, I'm not like, oh my God, I've read every thing of Spawn, but he has like, he's very extra with the chains and the robe and the cape.
Mitch has.
And Silvestri has his own thing and everything. But me, it's like for me, I'm mostly underground. So like you have the Hernandez, it's like Jaime, he's got a very different style than Gilbert. Gilbert's got a very different style. And I think Mario writes mostly. I don't think he draws as much, but Gilbert and Jaime are the art team kind of thing.
Right.
It's weird because, like, as I said, in the times in the 90s, I never would have thought of meeting any of these guys. And now it's like, I kind of work in the same field as they do. But the thing is, I'm more underground comics. But yet it's weird because, like, my underground is getting pretty good, on that level. Like, I can't believe I sold out of 4 fucking, like, lines of books. That's like a first for me. But it's like weird because it's like with books that are older. I mean, I sold Triggered. People like Triggered. People like Alcoholics and Anonymous. I did sell some hardcovers of Triggered, but mostly people were horny for She Sucks. It was great. It was like, okay.
Well, they probably read or heard a Triggered and wanted to see your other stuff because that's usually how it happens.
Yeah.
Well, I also have a really funny sales pitch, and I guess. I mean, the thing is also if you're posting consistently on social media, people are like, oh, no, fuck the algorithm. I don't get likes. Look, it's a cumulative thing. It's not always – a lot of the times when people do shit like this, they think it's going to be gratification, and sometimes you will. Like sometimes I've had a post explode about something. But in reality, it's like you just got to keep doing it, and people will like older posts. Like there were times when people – like there are some posts that I get that people still really fucking love. And it's like, dude, this is like over a year ago. Like, really? I mean, yeah, if you pin a post, that's useful. But that's
well, more people are getting to know who you are the longer that you're out there and your stuff gets around. So of course and your timeline, especially on Facebook, sits there forever, or Twitter. So they'll sit up there, nothing to do. They'll start running down your history.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like I always post in the morning. I mean, sometimes I'll write little quips and stuff. You see me do that, and that seems to get popularity too. But at the same time, it's sort of like sometimes I just don't want to be fucking with Facebook half the time. And it's interesting because people go like, oh, well, you got to do this. And it's like,
Yeah, I rarely talk about my personal stuff going on, and unless it's business related, convention appearance, getting the banner, posted that kind of stuff. But not much about my personal. I think the first meal that I ever posted on Facebook was at the first of the year. It was the first breakfast I had in like 4 months. So I was really happy to eat that baby. So I took a picture of it, posted it up online.
Well, hey, I mean, it's like good. Like sometimes I'll post like fun stuff that what I'm doing. Like I posted my San Diego Comic-Con pictures, like I was eating with a group of people. And we were eating there and it was cool. And it was funny because like, I just said, no, I'm not fucking telling you where that fucking spot is. Fuck you.
Yeah. It's your spot. You don't want to tell everybody where it's at, especially around San Diego, or else next year when you go there, you'll never get a table.
Yeah. I mean, but it's off like it's not like.
Even doesn't matter. Even still, if they know there's a hot spot there, that's where everybody's going to go.
Yeah. But it was weird because
it's like your favorite moonshine spot. Don't ever tell anyone that. Never.
Yeah.
That's probably a regional reference, Mitch.
Yeah, it is.
It's a favorite. This is where I set up my still. Don't tell anybody. Yeah.
Hi, you fat ass.
I got a buddy that in Kentucky, and we went riding through the hills, the Appalachians, there for a bit. He's right down in the bottom southeastern corner, right around the Cumberland Gap area. And he's like, let's go riding. So we went out riding. He blew out my brakes. We were driving through the hills so much, driving past over there. So usually got us still there, keep driving.
What's funny is
it's an adventure.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was just thinking the Appalachian Mountains. Now I've never been there, but when I went to Austin, I met a fellow illustrator that was a fucking Appalachian Mountain guy, and he was a crazy motherfucker. But it was like, I say that with affection because, I'm in the mountains. I mean, I don't know very many people from Appalachia. Like this.
Mitch and I are both shaking our heads. Yeah, yep. Know a bit about that. Yep.
Yeah, like they're
I
crazy.
have a bunch in my family.
Yeah, they're crazy as fuck, but they're cool. And but
we call those hillbillies. They're not rednecks. There's a huge difference.
Yeah, well, they're in the hills. Like that's the thing. It's like Ozarks are hillbillies, I guess, or something like that.
Yeah, hillbillies.
It's kind of funny because like they were told they were the Irish or something and Scottish.
Yeah.
So get the fuck out of the other colonies, so they just lived in the hills, and that's why they have the clans and shit. And then you have the Hatfields and the McCoys and shit like that too. I'm part of it, but the guy like I knew in that I met in Austin. It was like really fucking hot and humid. Like it must have been 105 and we were dying. Like even a dude like from Phoenix, Arizona was dying. And we're sitting around and this guy said, "Yep, I'm from Appalachia. I got a bike." And he said, "Man, it's hot in here. I almost like fell over. I biked 5 miles." I'm like, Jesus Christ. Here I'm from California. I'm a fucking pussy from the weather. I'm like,
lucky you didn't have a heat stroke in Austin.
Dude, we had to like go in the train. Like the moment we went in the metro, air conditioned, we were like, oh God, this is so good.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I haven't been to the American South. I've gone every year since 93. Damn, dude.
Yeah. Boom Dan says he's gone every year. I'm sure he's talking about San Diego. Billy and Denora are awesome.
Deborah, he fucked on his fingers.
Eric Hawkins in the house. Eric, how you doing? Says Tucci's very genuine. Yes, he is. Like him, good human being. Deborah Fingers, whatever. Grant Lanker says fourth world stuff. Yeah, that's Kirby. Talk about somebody, who's he's been in the business so long. His imagination is just flares. He'll sit there and draw because that's all he's done all of his life. Yeah. Draw a page, pass it on. Draw a page, pass it on. Draw a page. He had the formula down and just a book. I think he did a book every other week, something like that.
Yeah, he was fast. He was really fast.
Very fast. And then he kept whole scenes. If they didn't work in the book as he was plotting it, he put it over to the side. There was a big pile of original art pages that if he would come up 3 or 4 pages short, go digging through that pile and put it in with the book and make notes and ship it out to the letterer. So some pretty crazy stuff. There's the fourth world material. It's very, very fascinating. The imagination in those series is just incredible. And it took me a long time to really appreciate it. Other than the New Gods, I always took right to the New Gods and Mr. Miracle. But Forever People and the Jimmy Olsen stuff was a little trippy for me, and couldn't quite get into it until I got older. And when he jumped back to Marvel in the 70s, I really did not care for his stuff back then. He was doing Captain America had a villain that had his face in the guy's stomach, and just all sorts of Black Panther fought a giant toad. It's just crazy stuff. And you know, when you're young, you don't appreciate the art of it, the artistic endeavor. There's just the sheer imagination of the material. Now I can't get enough of it.
Yeah,
I was the same way, I guess. Excuse me. It took me a while to really notice the importance of Jack Kirby. Mm-hmm. Because in the 90s when I started reading comics as a kid, I'm at least 1 or 2 generations away from the influence of Kirby. So you have everyone basically doing what he did. So it really took me a while to actually understand what was so great about him.
Right.
And yeah, I completely see it.
I was such a nerdy fuck kid. Like I lived in the library kind of. I really loved reading comics and stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm like this, blah, blah, blah. But for me, I kind of wanted to find the older shit. Like I liked old school Popeye. I grew up actually watching like the 30s and 40s cartoons of Pop.
Yeah, the old Fleischer cartoons, sure.
Yeah, like it was just like how the animation was. I started to really fall in love with that. And like how fucked up and weird like the older school animation was because they didn't have the censorship. Like censored cartoons. I was like, wow, and this is crazy. And then they went ahead and did the whole thing where I actually went to the library and I found Jigs and Maggie. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I forgot what the guy's name, but he died actually pretty young, like 38 or 48 or something, like of a heart attack. But it was kind of crazy. I was like, oh fuck. So I would check out that book all the time and just read the fucking complete. I think it was like the complete volume of Jigs and Maggie, and I would just like.
Oh, what is that? Jigs and Maggie.
Maggie and Jigs or whatever. It's like Maggie and Jigs. They're kind of like they were poor at one time and they got rich, and when the Depression hit, they got poor. And they had a daughter named Edna, and she ran off and got married and shit. And they drew the pretty girls like a certain way, and I really liked that because like
that was a comic strip.
Yeah, that was a comic strip. Yeah, they had a book. Yeah, and then it was kind of similar.
George McManus is what's coming up.
George McManus?
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, and when I was a kid, I would read all the Wizard of Oz books. And then the illustrator they had, you know, I don't think he drew the Gibson Girls, but the Gibson Girl illustration. Mm-hmm. So I got into the Gibson Girl-esque illustrations, and that made me really want to draw the shit out. Like, they changed illustrators. Like, in the first volume, they had a totally different illustrator.
Winslow,
Yeah, and the rest of it, they had like a totally different illustrator.
Then John, I think it was John R. Neal, came on after that. Delicate line work, beautiful inking style.
Yeah, but it was very Gibson Girl-like, you know, the whole, like, you drew the Gibson Girls and all that. Mm-hmm. So it's weird because I have this combination where I kind of have a hole in like the 70s, 80s comics of some things, 50s to 60s, but then like on the obscure shit, I'll start reading in that shit. And it was like, it's weird. And then I'll talk a lot about Frank L. Baum, and the illustrator, like where he did the original Wizard of Oz. And then there was another guy that did the rest of them. And I fell in love with his artwork, and I fucking forgot his name.
Yeah, it's John Neal, I believe, John O'Neill, something like that.
Yeah, but I don't think he did Gibson Girls. It was like some other guy named Gibson.
Probably not, but his line work, the delicate line work that he did, very individual to his work, that very art deco influence, and just some incredible. Well, that's why he kept illustrating those Oz books, was because he was just that good. When I was in Memphis one time, there was a kids book illustration exhibit, and there was this beautiful full page by that artist, John O'Neill, whatever, of Treasure Island. That was just phenomenal. The little kid with a book open, that like an imagination cloud coming out of the book with a big sailing ship and a pirate, and just a beautiful piece of work. Something that it stood there for minutes just looking it over at the line work and the just the delicate feel of and it was the same atmosphere as the Oz books. Just fantastic stuff. Mm-hmm. What up, Grant? Agent Zero in the house. Hey, Justin, how you doing? Justin, I probably should have sent you a link. If you want in, let me know. Joe says, and we're still hoping that Luke will show up here eventually. He's just waiting to see how he feels. Joe in the house. Agent Zero says, just bagging some comics. I just got in about 50 floppies of God's Hand. There you go. You bought 50 copies of God's Hand. You bought 10 of each of my stuff. What's going on? Anyway, never mind. Yeah, I got that in the Long Shots bundle. Great art, that one. Yeah, just a great product. Says, yes, I'm getting much stock in of each Long Shots title to put in my local shops. There you go. Thank you, Agent Zero.
Awesome.
Appreciate you, Justin. I do. Thank you so much. That catches us up in the chat. So, hey, everybody, what's going on? Agent Zero's laughing. So.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Like for me, the art form of illustration and comics is kind of different, because if you're talking like, oh, what issue did Gambit appear in this blah, 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 and, you know, for Spawn, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, look, I've read enough of it to know about the character, but I'm not going to read every single freaking issue. But if you want me to talk about Love and Rockets or Johnny Ryan or Simon Hanselman, I mean, like, I'll get into it. It's just like I just read a lot of shit. That's the thing. And what I remember what I read, like Dirty Pair, the localization Dirty Pair by Adam Warren and Torrin Smith. That's really good. Dominion by Masamune Shiro no Tomo, which Akira, you know, but he's done a lot of other stuff. But Akira is like his primary IP. Mm-hmm. And Ito is like a relatively new guy, but he's still really good. And it's kind of funny.
Love him.
Yeah, there was a meme of Ito where he was like, Junji Ito, where he drew this fucked up picture, and he's like, hey, I love the Beatles. I like Yellow Submarine. He's all happy. And then there's fucking Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Miyazaki, where he says, "I fucking hate the Beatles." He's an asshole, and then he's drawing this really beautiful, colorful picture from Spirited Away or something. I mean, it's funny because like what people put out in their art isn't necessarily what they show in their face, which is weird. But I kind of get it. Like, you know, I've been told like with Demon Bitch, people kind of go like, "Wow, you're really nice," but you know, it's like I get it all out on paper. And when I've had to start putting it down because some people are like, "Oh, I'm so mad at you because you did this." I'm like, I met 5 of you already. Fuck, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Who
like,
cares what they, I mean, if someone's offended, sorry, you know?
yeah, it's like, I already met 5 of you fuckers already. Like, I don't know what it is. You're nothing fucking special, you know? And I'm not trying to say that, talk down to that person, but it's just like, okay, you know, you have to understand I'm doing comic books about my life. I don't have your fucking name on it, so just fuck off, you know? Well, I don't want to say that too strongly, but, you know, I'm just like, I mean, people put out that question. It's like, there are people that have thought it, and like, I don't even know who you are. I don't even talk about that.
It seems to be what Twitter's for.
Yeah.
People get in this
Tell
shit.
your fans to
That's,
screw off.
that's why I don't go on Twitter.
That's why I'm not on there very much. Yeah, me too.
I'm on Twitter every day, but I only participate with people resharing stuff or like my friends sharing stuff, and we promote each other. That's about it. I don't really like to get into the political bullshit or anything.
Yeah, same here.
It's a quagmire is the best way to describe it.
Quagmire.
Yeah, just
I mean, it's just like the internet. You'll get pulled down a dark hole, and then you look at all this other bullshit, and you're like, "What the fuck is this?" I just don't like getting into it, so I just said, "Fuck this bullshit." So
unless you travel on YouTube, that's my number one social.
Oh,
somewhat social site.
I showed Rich Parada some shit, and you know that one episode we were all drawing, and I showed him that like a video, and it was just how he was strangling himself was like immensely like funny because I showed him some videos of some animal parts, and he really didn't like that.
There you go.
Oh yeah, like there's this, I think he was talking about ducks or something. So I sent him a thing of like duck penis like eversing. And he went like, I will never eat linguine again. Fuck you.
I didn't even run our warning today, but we're an adult show, folks. We're TV MADLSV, just in case you needed that clarification.
Well, and I also found one of like, it's funny because, okay, so I send this to my friends and their spouses, right? What I noticed when I send this particular video, the boys all cringe and start crying while the girls start laughing. And it involves cooking a girl part, not a human girl part, but like a cowgirl part, a cow part. And I'm not going to repeat it here, but it was just like, we just started laughing, the girls and I. And then like the guys are just like, they're crying and shit. Like Doc couldn't deal with it. Like Doc had a problem with it and fucking Rich. I mean, they were crying, but it's like us girls were fucking laughing our asses off.
I was watching a cartoon kayfabe video about Heroes Con because they mentioned some books I was associated with and zombie books, and I was really shocked to see that they just put them out there, put them out there on the cover, and you know, here you go. I'm like, whoa, dude, you want to show that? I mean, that's been banned in Canada, dude. So
yeah. I mean, it's funny. And then now, like, I mean, zombies and shit, like, I don't know, it's interesting. I think the only comics that I think I would have a really hard time reading all the time would be Crossed. Red Room also kind of gets up there too because it's just really graphic. Like I have a pretty high tolerance. I mean, I'm an extreme. I mean, we just talked about like the cow part thing, but it's just that Crossed is just so degenerate. And I'm not trying to say that like I hate the book or something. It's a really good book. It's a really good series. So is Red Room. It's just too good sometimes. Like Walking Dead, that's too good sometimes because you're like, fuck, dude. I mean, after you read that comic, like for Walking Dead, you just get so depressed you want to jump off a bridge.
Yeah, it had a very uplifting ending, though.
What?
It had a very uplifting ending.
Well, it should have fucking had an uplifting ending after all that bullshit. You know, you're just like, damn. Like after all these people that died and like how fucked up the world is, like when Carl was a little boy. I mean, it was like crazy because when Carl was Carl was like 11 at that time, and it kind of shows how the world would degenerate too if like all Law and Order and they had bands. And there was this really fucked up one. I think Abraham was in it, and Abraham and Rick were tied up, and like a gang of guys tied them up, and they tried to rape Carl as a kid. and that was.
I remember that one. Yeah, that was
I mean, they
that was
can
a little
do it.
much.
But it's like, yeah, this is how the world would be if you guys are keep calling in the apocalypse, and you're like, well, the next time the apocalypse happens, it's like you don't want the fucking apocalypse.
No.
Because shit like this will happen. Although I'm glad now that nobody talks about the apocalypse anymore, because I think we've all gotten out of our system and like, oh yeah, maybe we shouldn't talk about that.
Justin says big orders are coming down the pike. Randy, I'm going to keep talking to business owners and put up even more spinner racks. Mwahaha. Good for you, Justin. Can't wait. Please, whatever you need, just let me know. I've got a package put together, just waiting to be taken to the post office, hopefully tomorrow. But I will let you know your delivery date on that as soon as I get it to the post office. So,
So I mean,
thank you, and much appreciated, I should say.
Yeah.
Can you sit still for like a minute?
Oh, you're talking to your dog. It's just so. I mean, that's the thing. I don't want to get it. It's like when people talk about the apocalypse. First of all, it's a really overdone thing overall, and second, like you guys know nothing. It's like when some of the people go like, we need to have civil war. I'm like, no, I like having water and bathrooms and actually supply chains, please. No, because like if anybody, yes, it was an older time, but there was a time, the Civil War, it was all fucked up, especially in the South. They fucking cut off supply lines. I don't think they reached the North so much because it was sort of inaccessible for how they did the war. But like when they cut off fucking supply lines and a lot of shit was like destroyed. So it was like, like the Sherman ties, like where they tied it around. And I actually got a banned book recently called The Master Race. It was done by this dude that actually apparently revolutionized how comics were. Now people, if they go like, oh, you got The Master Race, Christy, that's fucking racist. No, it's actually done by a guy who actually wrote the actual unedited story about the Holocaust.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually more about the Jewish side. It's like uglier than what you've ever been told.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of horrors.
I mean, it was like, oh, it's not even worse. I said, it's fucking terrible, dude.
Well, they don't know because they've never looked at history. That's the thing. The ones that want to see a civil war have never, read about the Civil War, or they don't have a proper perspective or context of exactly how bad things can get because they've had it so easy all of their life.
Well, the thing is that the same assholes that go like, oh, if you were doomed to report history every time, if we don't learn from it, it's like, stop editing it, you asshole. Like, that'd be nice. What was kind of fucked up is like back in the World War II, the Japanese did a lot of vivisection experiments.
Yeah. Unit 731.
So the Germans.
Yeah. It was really fucked up. Like
big time eugenics. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not trying to be like all like, oh, this was worse than the Holocaust. I mean, they were both pretty bad, but on some levels, it was worse on some levels. I mean, I don't want to be like, oh, well, my thing is worse, but it's like, I mean, like when they were talking about Abe's stuff, like Shinzo Abe, how he got assassinated, it was like, and this was way before the assassination. And again, I personally don't have any sort of opinion. It's just what I've heard from my relatives. My ethnicity is Korean, but a lot of Korean people really didn't like him because his relatives, I think it was either his granddad or his uncle or granduncle, ran one of the provinces in Korea, and they really fucking were terrible to the Koreans in that province. So they really didn't like Abe and his family, and all that shit. I mean, I never had a personal thing again with that because it's like little things. Like the thing is, I was born and raised in America, so it's like there's some things I don't know until later. So I'm like,
I
didn't know about that.
Everybody raised in America has no concept of the outside world. It's amazing that how few people in the States have actually even traveled outside of the country. It gets crazy. Grant's going to bed. Grant, sorry, you're going to bed. Grant. Hit that like button. Hit that love button up there. Tell your friends. Have them come in and talk to us. We're here every Wednesday. Now we're going to be here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday from now on, 8 until probably 10.
Oh, nice.
Might even go a little longer if the conversation spikes up and gets rolling. So.
Oh yeah.
So it's just, as I said, it's been an interesting conversation with that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny. I get into the funniest conversations at San Diego Comic Con because I actually did get into what was weird. It's like a funny conversation. Like this girl comes up. I remember some years ago, and she comes up and I talked to her about my book and everything. and her ethnicity is Japanese and my ethnicity is Korean. We sat there and then we kind of, I don't know how I do this with people, but we get into joking conversations about the worst subjects ever, and somehow it's not terrible. Like we were just saying, yeah, Japanese and Koreans, they weren't very nice to each other. She said, no, we were kind of assholes or something. There was this really fucking funny conversation. I'm like, what is it with me and like getting into fucked up conversations with people, and yet this is funny?
That's me too. It's not just you.
I mean, it's like, it's not something that I find funny, like, murder and massacre and oppression of people, but for some reason it kind of turns out to be that way. I don't know, maybe it's just funny. Like, yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny because June Goku, like, the comic bug was nominated for an Eisner Award, actually, at San Diego Comic-Con. They didn't get it, but they were nominated. And it's kind of funny because when I did Asian Invasion over there with June, I went up to him because his ethnicity is Japanese, and no, I wasn't being racist, but Asian people, we fuck with each other all the time on this. So I leaned over and said, colonizer. And he just like, yeah, really? Yeah. We were good. Yeah. But it's just like, it was done in fun. It wasn't like I was being an asshole to him or mad. I mean, it was like, that's the reason why I did Asian Invasion and like freaking comic bug. I mean, nobody can give him shit. He's Japanese. I'm Korean. Who's going to get pissed at me about that shit?
Do you or are you familiar with a? Let me pull this in here. I ran across this today. Tumix Global. Have you ever heard of them?
I don't think
I have not.
Terrapin Studios, a subsidiary of NPX Capital, alternative investment firm. NPX Capital, an alternative investment firm, acquired Tumix for $160 million. It's a Korean digital comics platform.
I don't think I've heard of that one. I've had some Korean platforms approach me for Demon Bitch. I have
awesome. Is this?
Go ahead. I said that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that a lot of people shop around at WonderCon and Comic-Con too. So
is this Webtoon like the Webtoon?
Well, this isn't
Webtoons.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
I'd never heard of these guys before, but that doesn't mean they're not tremendously big. It's like I keep saying, you get out of the States, comics are treated as high art. Tumix is a leading Korean Webtoon platform that was founded in 2015.
Okay.
The number of subscribers for this platform has doubled in the last 2 years, and it now has a total of 60 million subscribers.
Damn.
60 million. Tumix specializes in distributing high-quality Webtoon IPs such as Black Knight, which has been adapted into an upcoming Netflix miniseries starring A-list Korean actor Kim Woo-bin.
I don't know who that guy is. I know Won Bin. I don't know Kim Woo Bin. I'd have to look at a picture of him.
Says Tumix is a leading player that represents Korea's growth in digital entertainment, said Samuel Hwang, CEO of NPX Capital. Not only is it a platform that connects tens of millions of viewers, but also a digital content powerhouse that leverages its premier IP and production capabilities. This acquisition will further reinforce Terrapin Studios' content to compete on the world stage. Tumix platform, distribution capacity, and availability in multiple languages will enhance Terrapin Studios' ability to deliver globally recognized content throughout the world. And here, this company, huge, $160 million for this company that I had never heard of before. I pulled this article off of ICV2 and was lucky that they didn't have it stashed on their freaking pro platform. They had to charge in order to read it. But it's just fascinating. Hey, out there in the chat, have you heard of Tumix Global? Of course, I just ran across Global Comics as well the other day. It's amazing the rabbit holes you get into when you start snooping on the web. But have you ever seen Global Comics? It's a digital comics platform.
Yeah.
That's out there.
Yeah, I have a few of my books on there.
Do you really? Cool.
Yeah.
How they do?
I've better luck on them to pass honestly. Yeah. Webtoon still takes down my stuff, so no.
Why? Why would they take that?
I don't know.
To adult content or what? Oriented?
I don't know. They don't really give an explanation. I guess it's the violence in some of the situations, I guess. But yeah. I guess I really am that messed up.
Wow. You're going to have to send me some of your stuff. We'll have to do a package swap. I just got Tim Tyler just sent me a package of books, which I did get, Tim, if you're listening. Thank you so much for those books. I think I sent him a PM and said thanks for the incredible stuff. Very interesting. He's been doing both magazines and comic book oriented material. I'm going to show some off here probably on a Sunday Funnies, but some really crazy imaginative stuff. Just awesome to see. But I was real fascinated with this Tumix, especially since I had never heard of it before, and suddenly they're worth 160 million. So, well, it's not suddenly; they've been around since 2015. Interesting what you get when what you run across once you start snooping.
Yeah, I mean, it's just weird, kind of like I never got into it. It's like I don't know about that particular one. I'm familiar with Webtoon. I just don't know about that one.
I was aware of Webtoon and Tapas, but never heard of Tumix and what Tapas?
I don't know. I say Tapas.
How do you say it, Mitch?
I say it either Tapas or Tapas.
Tapas.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. So
Tapas.
Yeah, Tapas like Spanish, I think sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Anybody out there know? Put a phonetic spelling in that chat. Let us know.
Yeah, and we'll try to spell it correctly. Try.
Yeah, we'll try to pronounce it right. We don't mean to pronounce it wrong. Dynamite, not Dynamite. Who was it? Dark Horse? Dark Horse made a great announcement at San Diego that I hadn't seen before my snooping around today. Let me find it here. It's awesome stuff.
Oh, is it the Richard Corbin thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that fucking like is that from heavy metal? Like from the
Yes, it is.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
I've heard what was like Den. Yeah, like
first two hardcovers in 2023. So they're going to print a new line of deluxe hardcovers collecting the work of Richard Corbin, beginning with 2 volumes in 2023, both to be released as dust-jacketed hardcovers. Corbin passed away in 2020 after heart surgery. The line will include key introductions from well-known contributors and previously unpublished materials. First up is Murky World, which will be completely collected for the first time, and it will include Corbin's Dark Horse Presents one-shot, never-before-seen bonus material and an introduction by Mike Mignola. Sorry. Release date is April 26, 2023, and in bookstores by May 9th. Manufacturer's suggested retail price has been set at $40, $39.99.
That's not too bad.
No,
I was worried when I heard it, that it was going to be like astronomically expensive, but no, that's good.
It's a looks like a good volume at an affordable price.
Yeah.
Then the second
Murky World that ran in, it says Dark Horse Presents. So they brought back Dark Horse Presents. I read the hell out of that series.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great. Murky World was awesome.
Well, they had a lot of good stuff run through Dark Horse Presents.
I remember when I was a while ago. Well, Heavy Metal the movie was still bootleg. I was actually it was with a boyfriend that introduced me to Love and Rockets. This was years ago. Okay. We're no longer together, but I remember he introduced me to heavy metal, and he had a fucking bootleg copy. I am not going to say a thing, but he had a bootleg copy of heavy metal.
Well, back then you could probably only get bootleg copies.
Well, no, you couldn't. It's like I think it was a big deal. Like when I was in college, that they released heavy metal. Like yes, it's finally released, but it had been like years. I think even John Candy had died too when it was. Like,
well, it took them forever to get clearance on the music, from what I understand.
Yeah, the soundtrack was like fucked. Like it was just like, I don't know what happened. I think that would have been there, but the soundtrack, it was just there. Yeah, but I heard FAKK was actually not that good. Some people hated FAKK compared to the original heavy metal movie.
if it wasn't heavy metal, it would have been enjoyable. But that doesn't mean it's good. But the kind of it wasn't. I mean, kind of was too different from what heavy metal was doing what classic heavy metal was doing at the time.
Well, the heavy metal movie was actual classic heavy metal stuff.
Yeah, like they had
It's
Captain Stern,
phenomenal.
they had
Yeah.
the zombie.
Den.
I don't know what it was called. They had Den, they had Tarna,
Yeah.
the last Dracarian. I think that was it, Dracarian.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got, and then they had the one that I couldn't watch for a while because it creeped me out because zombies kind of fuck with me for a while. They fucked with my head.
B-52?
Is it B-52? Yeah.
Yeah.
B-52. That was crazy as fuck.
Yeah,
Like,
Mike Plug did the storyboard work for that segment.
The original
Yeah.
story was written by Dan O'Bannon.
Yeah. It's crazy, great stuff.
yeah,
So
I
the
mean,
next-
people in,
ahead.
like, the fucking thing with like the aliens at the end, where they fucking said, "Dude, you want to do some blow or something?" It was like they were
Yeah.
doing blow, and they fucking put out this thing. It looked like a Zamboni, and they were fucking putting
It looked like a floor cleaning machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they stored it up, and they're saying they're all fucked up and high. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the expressions they captured was really funny.
Oh, yeah. That was a great movie.
Yeah, and Julie Strange, she starred in FAKK, right?
Yeah.
What was FAKK? I forgot what it stood for.
That was with Eastman, right? That was
Yeah.
Eastman.
Yeah, well, she was
That-
married to Eastman, and he owned the rights to heavy metal, and he decided to do a sequel.
I think he still
His
is.
ex Macchiato says not bad. Then he says, I saw it on HBO. I know for the longest time it ran on Cinemax late at night, almost every weekend. That was the go-to movie if you had Cinemax and you were, you come home from the bar or you were sitting at home being altered and turned it on. You just sat there and zoned and watched the thing.
I
They had it
remember
on all the time.
I remember being in a weird state of mind. I wasn't altered with any drugs. I just your brain goes into this mode at 2 to 3 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
We fucking watched like all of Evil Dead from
Oh, God, that's
to
awesome.
fucking Army of Darkness.
Oh, he said that the not bad was off the price of that book. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
This is a
39, that's actually not bad. Is it a hardcover, I wonder?
Yeah, hardcover and a slipcase for $40. That's worth it. I'll get it.
Ethan
So
is
the release
I'll
of Den
definitely get it.
Neverwhere will celebrate Den's 50th anniversary. The art will be restored by longtime Corbin collaborator Jose Villaruba. And the work will be relettered by Nate Picos of Blamblot. Oh, there you go. Patton Oswalt will contribute an introduction and Villaruba a forward. The volume will be released in comic stores July 26, 2023 in the book channel August 8th.
Have you ever seen the original Neverwhere short that he did?
No.
Oh, he was
Can't
still.
say I have.
It's really good. It's on YouTube for free. It's really good. It's one of those things where it's amazing that one person did it
Mhm.
because he did like everything: the live action shooting, the animation, the cells, the sound. The only thing he didn't do with the voices, and got some people he worked with, I think, to contribute voices. But it is. One, it's Corbin, who's a legend, and two, you could tell the amount of time and effort he put into it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I saw a stop motion short of the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. That was on there. It's pretty cool. 3-dimensional.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's like the Coraline, only it was very much Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. It was pretty hot.
So it was just three guys getting high for the entire length of the film?
Oh, it was off the comics. Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
Yeah, I saw the Tubi animated series, Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. I was,
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. It's not the worst thing out there by far, but it could have been so much more.
I
Oh,
hear you.
they made a version 2 of FAKK. That's crazy. But it's a video game. I'm trying to figure out who's the editor because I know Eastman was the editor for frickin'
I think he was editor during that period. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it
he's.
was.
Let me check. I'm just trying to figure out what it is.
Grant Morrison was the editor for a while too. And
That was after I think Eastman sold it
Yeah.
to whatever a larger conglomerate.
Okay, editor in chief is Joseph Eilage. Right
Now it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Corbin's wife, Donna Corbin, shared her feelings about the project. Quote, "I'm so pleased and proud to share Corbin art and stories with the world, unquote. She said, I'm incredibly proud of him as an artist and a person, and touch that his work means so much to so many. Yeah, well, that's those kind of volumes are something that needs to always stay in print. So good on
heavy metal, the iconic fucking thing. So that's great.
Good on Dark Horse for doing that. And heavy metal's also another series that needs to be archived.
Yeah.
Hard covers for 50 or less, collecting 7 or 8 issues all at once, just because so many of those stories were serialized. Got to be pretty irritating after a while. You were just getting bits and pieces of different stories.
So 2900 AD, right? That was the thing with like Judge Dredd and all that shit. I mean, I know Judge Dredd.
2080s. Yeah.
They were actually over at fucking San Diego Comic Con. Actually,
that would have been awesome. Yeah.
I didn't get to go. Like, that's the thing, because it's like so fucking busy. I had to be at my table.
Yeah.
And we were so worn out that at the end of the day, you would actually show up a little earlier just to get prepped. But it's just like, I was like literally like this at my table. Like,
yeah.
Like, there was actually one day, like, I've done Comic-Con many times before, like, as a vendor. But for some fucking reason, like, in the middle of the day, like, because of this, I don't know what it was, but I just started getting really saturated. I'm like, why are so over people like right now?
Sure, adrenaline only goes so far. And once you run off that cliff, you're like Wile E. Coyote for a little bit. And then you look down and then...
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I think that's kind of crazy how it is.
Yeah.
So I'm just like...
I only ever did one show ever that I was hungover at. It only took one for me to go, I'm never going to do this again. It was a Chicago con that the night before Marvel actually paid for the liquor. And we made them pay.
Like, I literally would have 1 or 2 drinks just because of my condition. I just don't really like drinking all that much anyway. I like drinking, don't get me wrong, but I just can't pound it down. I mean, when you're younger, yeah, because you're like, oh, alcohol, it's a new fucking thing. But it's like, when you get older, you learn how to appreciate alcohol, and cocktails are fucking expensive. So I like to leave.
And plus, you also get wiser, and you realize there's such a thing as moderation. So
yeah, and then after having 2 fucking things of alcohol, like, you can keep your head while you're talking business and shit.
Yeah, I did all day Saturday with my head in my hands. I'll never forget it. I'll always regret it, and I'll never do it again. So I've always been real careful about how hard I party at conventions after that, especially ones that I drove to. Though New Orleans was an exception. So we did a New Orleans show. Roger Price threw one first big show in New Orleans, 2-3 day show. Adam West was there, and this is how long ago it was when he was in his bitter phase. Sat behind the table all day with his arms crossed, with an ugly look on his face, just angry and bitter and sad. And we didn't make any money at that show, but the nightlife was incredible. Absolutely. It's just a couple blocks away from Bourbon Street, and it's just great. It's a really good time. Lost my ass, but it was a really good time. So I was able to go out. I got out, couldn't sleep because of all the excitement that was going on. Got up at like 4 a.m. and went out and walked along Bourbon Street, and actually got to see a lot of the bars and restaurants out there cleaning up. And they did have to clean up every morning. They took a garden hose, sprayed down the sidewalks into the gutters.
Actually, that's what Nita said. Like, that's what she kind of thinks is gross about New Orleans, is like, it just smells of piss and everything.
Yes. Well, this wasn't piss as much as it was a lot of vomit. But it didn't smell good.
Piss, because they won't let you use the bathrooms.
Yeah. Very unforgettable.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that just fucking like take like basically in downtown LA. There's like some motherfucker that pisses everywhere and shit.
But it was Bourbon Street was real fascinating because the jazz clubs were stretched out just far enough so that when you stopped hearing the stuff at one bar, you were just picking up the noise at the other bar. So it's kind of like jazz club, strip club, souvenir shop, restaurant, and it just went over and over that same routine all the way down the line. It was a very interesting, very fun time. The convention sucked, but I did get to talk to Dwayne McDuffie for a little while, and that was a joy. So, and again, that's how long ago it was, back when he was still alive. So, He was
Cool.
walking through and a bunch of stuff. We got to talk about some properties. I think he was working for Film Roman at the time,
Oh God, I remember
doing animation stuff. We talked a little bit about Spank the Monkey.
Oh God, that fucking movie. That movie, from what I remember, that movie was kind of.
Oh no, my character Spank the Monkey, not the movie Spank the Monkey.
The movie Spank the Monkey was kind of miserable. It was sort of like, this is sort of depressing.
Yeah.
Like I was watching and said, this is a great movie. I'm like, this is fucked up. And at the end, he fucks his mom, and you're like his dad's a dick, and his like they just.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
It's an interesting movie. It's not totally terrible, but it's sort of depressing because they're kind of assholes to the kid, and it's not like, oh, it's angsty. It's just they really don't give a fuck about the kid. Like he has like a internship to a residency for MIT that's really hard to get, and his dad's like, yeah, well, fuck you, I don't care. And he's fucking around on the mom, and the mom's like depressive because she's like an overly self-medicated housewife, and he ends up fucking his mom, which is the weirdest thing in the world. I mean, that kind of happens at the end of the movie. I know spoilers, but it's this whole thing gets hooked up with like the neighbor's daughter and everything, and that in itself is weird. And it's just like this whole like dragging on thing of angst, and it's just sort of miserable and sad. I mean, it's not a badly written movie, but it's not something I would suggest watching multiple times. It's sort of like Old Boy. Like after the first couple of times that I've watched it, I wanted to take a shower. It's like not a shitty movie. It's just, God damn.
But you've watched it more than once.
Well, Spank the Monkey, no. I didn't feel the need. I've watched Old Boy like twice.
Okay.
Because I watched it once. I'm like, oh, fuck. And then like I told my friend about it, and he was in Chicago and I was here in California. So he put it on his TV and we were both watching it. That's how I kind of watched it.
Yeah, there's only one movie that I will never watch again. That's Salo, if you've ever heard of that movie.
What is it?
Salo.
What's that
it's I think Italian movie from the early 70s. To describe the movie, we get taken off of YouTube. All I have to say is it's disturbing, and I'll never watch it again.
It's like about young teenage boys and something. And
yeah,
I'm not trying to be disgusting.
Locked in a mansion.
Remember, we're still on YouTube and Facebook. So
So
that's why I'm not going in depth about what it's about. But it's horrible.
Sodomy and very degrading acts, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you said it, not me. Just so the internet remembers.
There's one memorable weekend where I was down at the Aero Comics headquarters, which was Ralph and Stu's apartment, and we got a little altered and sat there and found the worst videos that we could possibly find and sat there and watched them all in order. That was a memorable night. We ended up watching Blood-Sucking Freaks.
Oh, God.
Yeah. We were altered. We also watched Pink Flamingos and Eraserhead that same night, and a couple of other, what was his name? Gordon Lewis? Herschel Gordon Lewis movies. Yeah. Very interesting stuff. So you don't see those around anymore. And unless you get one of the stray, way out cable channels that carries multiple streaming movie channels, sometimes you'll catch one here and there that show the grindhouse type films.
Yeah.
But yeah, unforgettable, even in an altered state.
Yeah.
I've watched those movies more than once. So
yeah.
Have you?
There's
2000 Maniacs.
Yeah.
I looked at some of the other ones. There was one about like this boy, I think it was like Lilo or something. That was a really weird ass fucking Italian movie that I heard about. And I'm like, what the fuck is this about? You know, it was like his mom got pregnant with him by a sperm soaked tomato. And it was just this whole, and dad tries to drown him in the bathtub. I read like the preview. I'm like, what the fuck is this bullshit?
I've never heard of it.
You know, and again, folks today think that some of these movies are whacked out perspective. It's like, no, you didn't experience the 80s. You didn't experience the 90s. There's so much great, just bent stuff out there. The early days of Cinemax were like, wow, incredible, crazy art films that you don't see around anymore, you know. Andy Warhol's movies and that kind of stuff, Frankenstein and Dracula, just
Or there was Dracula. Dracula like was iconic for Coppola, you know. It's kind of funny because I think that was probably the closest to the Bram Stoker version of the
It
book.
was.
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, well, it's this, and this. It's like, actually, we kind of dealt with the eroticism of Victorian eras too, the Victorian era too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, people kind of like going, when you explain some of the shit to the Victorian era, everybody's like, oh, they're all fucked up. I'm like, you had to understand this was new technology. Like memento mori. Thank you. Memento mori. And it was just like, oh yeah, people took pictures with their dead babies. Oh, that's so fucked up. I said, you have to understand that was how they remembered their loved ones. And now it's like, boop, but they had to actually sit there and pose. You know, it's
back in the old West, they used to take those shots of corpses in coffins all the time.
Yeah, they had like fucking, like there was one where they showed like this, the one that was kind of weird and creepy, but it was sort of weirdly comical. And I don't mean this like dead kids are funny. Okay, I'm not saying that, but just how fucked up it is, like to our standards. Like they showed like a bunch of little kids sitting together, like a young siblings, and they're holding the baby, and the baby's the one that's dead, and they're like, oh.
Yeah, just like that, Scott.
Yeah. Well, no, the baby just looks like the baby. It's just not alive anymore. Yeah.
Black. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Good. That's the only kind of baby pictures my mom has of me.
Are the dead ones?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, it's sort of like weird. Like my friend Lawrence and I, Lawrence, who does Real Deal, we'll like talk about like really fucked up subject matters, and we'll start laughing, not because we think it's funny, but just how messed up it is. Like one time I was working at a place, and during a break I looked down and I see my messenger has like notifications. I look in, and my fucking friend, one of my friends like went to his friend's mother's funeral, and he sent me a picture of her in the casket. I'm like, I'm like, okay, like what the fuck? So I messaged him. I said, I'm not grossed out, but why the fuck did you send me this? And he said, no. And it showed his friend whose mom was in the casket doing this. I'm like, Jesus.
Well, that is my to get out of work.
One of the more shocking things about the one Tarzan film that they did, I think with Christopher
Lambert.
With who?
Christopher Lambert.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the one section of it where these Victorian hunters have killed an ape, and they're blocking the bullet holes as they're trying to pump up the ape so he looks bigger in the photo. And I kept thinking that is probably exactly what they did way back in those days. This terrible, vicious things that they did in the name of vanity or whatever, where they did it. It's amazing. And I decided I would show up just to see
a long time. Yeah, me too.
Just to see everybody got out their markers and their books and see who lost money this time around.
We didn't. I haven't heard anybody in the chat that made a stake or lost. I think they're all out playing the Mega Millions, to tell you the truth.
Oh, probably. But I must say, I was inspired to show up tonight because of one Glenn Fleming.
Uh-huh.
He made such a comment about me. I thought, oh, well, I'm just going to show him. I'm going to show up tonight.
You need to come in and talk to him on Sunday mornings. He never shows up on the evening shows because most of the time he's got insomnia, but most of the time he's trying to sleep during this time. He's 6 hours ahead of us.
That's what I figured he would, he would enjoy the fact that I indeed actually did show up.
So it's almost early morning. I'll make sure that he knows.
Yeah. There you go, Glenn.
Well, I will tell you this, Scott. I made Rich Parada cry.
Made who cry?
Rich Parada. Yeah.
Oh, really? What did you do? Did you slap him, pinch him? What'd you do?
Well, he's in England, so that's a bit far.
Long distance.
We were going with Allison, and it was on top of the show, and Doc was on there, right? So I put in the private chat like the links that I had.
Yeah.
And he was talking, and I said, "Okay, I'll send you." Like Christy does this thing where Christy finds the grossest shit, makes you cry. So I put up a thing, and it was a duck dick, like eversing, a duck dick eversing, like duck male ducks, like it, because he was talking
male genitalia on a duck. Yeah,
because they were joking about their dick being a kraken and stuff. I said, "Oh, really? You want to fucking see that in real life, huh?" So I found I found a duck dick like eversing out, And when they watched it, like all the girls, like I don't know what it is, like us girls are flighty and we can't take gross shit because all the guys were crying. Like
It just reminds me of the old comic strip that was in the comic reader for the longest time about the Duck Detective. Dick,
yeah, it was just,
Duck, Dick. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny because like Rich like literally was gagging. He was like, "Oh my god, I can't even."
That's so
anymore.
funny.
Yeah.
Christy, you have raised the new bar. Say.
Oh, this even gets.
Welcome to the ZimmCast, folks. Raising that bar every day.
So I go online because I look always on the butthole of the internet because I got the internet in the '90s, so of course we all know where to search for stupid shit.
Of course.
So I
run that real quick.
Escort.com.
Their fucking spouses, and I noticed that the girls always fucking laugh at this shit, but the guys don't. So what it was, I tried to shoot it earlier, but it was like another country. I'm not going to mention what because I had no idea this country actually did this, but this country actually it said cooking a cow vagina on the street, and they were like literally scrubbing the.
You're not going to name the country for fear that you will shame them.
No, wait, Christy, just wait a second.
Here.
It's going by too fast.
See, Scott, you need to come in here more often.
I'm gonna have to say that again a little slower.
She doesn't have to say it a little slower. You know exactly what she said.
I just want to hear it again.
Yeah, it was
ridiculous thing I ever.
I'll put the link up in the private chat. You guys can see if I'm lying or not, right?
No, I believe.
Oh no, we totally believe you. Yes, you don't.
I just want to
totally understand. Totally.
Did you say cow?
So we're sitting there.
Yes.
So like they start playing it. The guys start crying. The girls are fucking laughing their asses off. And Rich is just having a apoplectic shock. Like watching them scrub this goddamn thing. Like they're even shaving the fucking thing. Like they're scraping all the black skin off and shit like that. And I remember one of my other friends who were sitting there, like I was sitting there with her husband, and her husband's like, "Oh God," and he's crying. And my friends and I are like, "Oh, dude, look, she's scrubbing it, dude."
No.
Suddenly, my recounting watching blood-sucking freaks seems a little tame.
Yeah, probably not quite as wild as we imagined. But no, see, Chrissy, that brings up one of the funniest lines I heard recently. Was on a network comedy show. I don't think it's still on, but the Mike and Molly show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mike, who plays a police officer, he's got a partner, and
it's probably showing late night on Nickelodeon. They show all of that era.
Oh yeah, and he lives with his mother, and she's this cantankerous old black grandmother, and she talked about how she was saying to him. Don't you tell me about no intimacy. Don't you tell me about no intimacy. Hell, your dead father, he didn't treat me. He treated that thing down there like a scratch-off ticket. It's just it's great. This great imagery in my head. I just thought it was the greatest line. And that was all network comedy, before 10 o'clock. It was great.
Yeah, this was
like a scratch.
I put up the 2 videos in the private chat so you know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So you can go and cry and scream just like fucking.
That is a YouTube video. Okay, we're not going to go there either for fear of copyright infringement.
Oh, that was
I was going to play an opening from Leave It to Beaver this episode because
Tony Dow
he died. Then his estate said he was still alive. Then his estate came back the next day and said, "No, we were wrong. He's dead."
Oh my
he died. Like yeah.
So he's gone. Yeah.
Wow.
Threes. It always goes in threes. We had Paul Servino pass.
Well, that's
we had David Warner pass. We had Tony Dow pass.
They in honor of David Warner, they played a great clip from the movie he was in with it's Time After Time with Roddy McDowell.
Yeah.
Oh, not Roddy McDowell, but
no, you were right. It was Roddy McDowell. Or not Roddy McDowell. I'm sorry, Malcolm McDowell.
Yeah, Malcolm McDowell. Yeah. And great scene where they're just talking in this hotel room about, I got to take you back to our time. And Warner talks about, no, this time is made for me. You need to go back to Victorian England.
Yeah.
He says, 6 days ago, I was a freak. Today, I'm an amateur. compared to what is happening in this world. You know,
It's a 1980s movie where Malcolm McDowell plays H.G. Wells. David Warner plays Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
And Warner finds H.G. Wells' time machine and zips up to the 80s.
Yeah.
And then Malcolm McDowell goes after him. While he's there, they meet Mary Steenburgen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
like you do.
The fact
hilarity ensues,
I love the fact that when Malcolm got into America, he says, "What is this place called? McDonald's?"
Yeah.
Which is the proper way to say McDonald's. That was just awesome. It was a great film. Great take on H.G. Wells.
It was. It's just a real good,
I saw that
fun
a long
movie.
time ago.
Brain check film, yeah. I saw it at the theater, so be careful, Mitch.
Yeah, Rich. Or Mitch, I'm sorry. Mitch. I combined two words together.
Hey, don't insult me, man.
Sorry,
that's a joke, Rich. That's a joke.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, Rich starts crying about I just thought it was funny how Rich was crying about duck dick. That's the only thing.
That's too funny. He was crying because it was too funny, or crying because he
was crying because it horrified him.
Oh my God!
I just saw the video. That didn't horrify me. It's
a little
nature.
Well, you know
Rich has got a light constitution. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I showed cow vagina, and like all the guys were like crying. I was like,
"Oh my God, that's too funny!" Oh my God!
I don't know why you guys cry over this shit.
Oh, I love it. I just
only the week.
Funny as hell.
All I know is some of the funniest times I've ever had was when I was in college and worked in a grocery store, and they just got in cow heads, and we played so much jokes on each other on the late shift with
my God,
with cow heads, eyes included, just running around after each other.
Well, yeah. I tell you, I grew up with my dad was a truck driver and my mom was a nurse in a hospital. There was nothing that could gross me out. And she
no kidding,
all this Polish cooking.
Me too.
Oh, the fact that
my goodness, you're probably related.
Doubt.
It was like truck driver and nurse. I'm like, holy shit.
Oh man, there was nothing that didn't get said. They didn't get said or showed at our house. But I remember it was always the surprise to people with my mom doing Polish cooking all the time. I used to gross out people when I first went to college. They could not believe that I actually would have cow tongue sandwiches. It was like the tastiest thing ever.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That tastes fucking good.
Oh, it does.
Awesome. We would have head cheese. Like my mom would get head cheese, and I'd fucking eat that shit. And it really.
Oh man, you're a greater woman than I, Chrissy, because I couldn't touch head cheese, but I loved cow tongue.
When I was dating my wife, she introduced me to menudo, the soup, and she says, "You don't want to know what's in it. Just taste it."
I hate tripe. I mean, Korean people eat tripe. Like I ate that shit.
No. If you really want to be grossed out, true, authentic Irish shepherd's pie.
Oh yes.
Yep. Oh, I would love to try that. Oh, I'd love to try that.
Well, there's Scotland with haggis.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's long. I think
that convinced me just watching Highlander. I'm like, nope, never gonna try that. Mm-mm.
See, the thing is that I don't think I ate haggis with. I've had haggis before. But I think in the States, it's kind of illegal to export it with lung meat.
I'm sure it is.
So I haven't had the true haggis, but I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. Like, I mean, I have no problem with offal as long as it doesn't taste like shit.
I've often thought that the Americanized version, where they just use hamburger, in the meat for the shepherd's pie, would be really tasty. But no, I suppose the authentic would be a little bit different.
Authentic might be a little nutty.
Oh God, are you?
And
you're not. That's not the. Yeah, okay. You're using the slang term for that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Got it. Yes.
Well, I remember
a spy from Ireland.
A guy did a presentation in front of a room full of incredibly high-minded business people, and he said, "Best business advice I ever got was a guy who said, if you want to open." If you want to have, you want to sell drinks and you want to have gambling, best thing to do is remember, liquor in front, poker in the back. That is always.
It's a very famous sign. Yeah,
it is.
Casinos, bar casinos, poker. Yeah, poker in the front, liquor in the rear.
Oh yeah. We were just dying. Nobody else hadn't quite got that. It's like me and two other guys that have been around the block enough times to know what that actually meant.
Yeah,
what he was actually saying.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome. Oh my God.
You know what that time of it is right now? I gotta go get some Whistle Pig. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Whistle Pig whiskey.
Oh, okay.
Well, we just thought you were going to try to gross us out again.
No, but I can go and find another video and put it up. In the meantime,
all right.
Well, all depends if the ZimmCast wants to get a certain rating.
Well, they would have to show.
We've already probably gotten close to that line already.
I mean, are we in TVMA whatever?
Yeah, TVMA DLSV.
Yeah. I mean, what else can we get?
Yeah.
NC-17. NC-17. Okay, I'll be right back. Hold on.
Okay.
But I'm sure you guys can carry on a conversation without me.
We'll try. We will try.
Why do you make the weirdest noises?
He's looking for attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know, but she kind of like made this weird ass, like weird little wheezy noise earlier.
So she finds the place you're at the most and goes rolling. That's what. My cat jumps my chair the first minute I'm up, and right there.
Whining over.
I don't really think I could ever have a cat in this house.
And he seems to be attracted to me when I'm at my sweatiest, my hottest. I'm sweating. The cat's right there.
Then they want to lick off the salty.
Goes rolling. Yeah.
So no, what
works like a hair comb. Go ahead.
What kind of a comics topic did I miss the first hour and a half of the show?
Nothing specific. We talked about San Diego Comic-Con and how everybody needs to go at least once. Have you ever been to San Diego?
No, I would love to though.
We've never done San Diego. You know what? A group of us in this state needs to go out, share expenses, rent a car, and just drive out there.
That
take off on a Monday, be there by a Thursday. When they do their retail nights, just spend the weekend at the show and then drive back. Take 2 weeks.
That would be awesome.
I did it once with Motor City Comic Con, Gary Bishop. That's way back when.
Okay.
And we drove with Art Goldman, who is Mike's dad.
Yeah.
And we had a van, and we were pulling a truck that had probably a couple $1 million worth of comics in it.
Oh my God!
And we went from Chicago Con to San Diego for the show because it was like 2 weeks in between. San Diego or Chicago happened, then there was a weekend, and then by that next Thursday they were at the retailer night, or the preview night is what they call it. So we took our time and drove across the prairie. We drove through the Rockies. We took Bear Claw Pass. I'll never forget it because we were praying Art would stay asleep because we're going up these hills like this in a van with a truck with a trailer on the back of it filled with expensive comics. We're like, if Art wakes up, we're going to be screwed because we're literally going up hairpin turns on the side of a mountain.
Oh, he probably would have.
Anyway, driving through Bear Claw Pass, spent the night at Yellowstone. Spent the next day driving around Yellowstone, taking in the sights, and then drove down to Vegas. We were at Vegas the weekend before the show, before San Diego. We, Gary and I flew our wives in to Vegas. We spent a couple of days at Vegas, and then we drove through the desert over to San Diego.
Wow.
That was
a roundabout
something
trip.
You'll never forget. And then driving back after the show, and while we were at the show, saw, all sorts of people, celebrities and all this. This is probably, it was before 2000. Anyway, that's how long ago it was. Late 90s, I would say.
Well, I know Jack Snyder, Jack.
Yeah.
He and his wife Dawn went to San Diego just a little while before they had their son Reed because he wanted to get in something like that before they knew the expensive kids. Yeah. And he said it was just, he couldn't believe it. I mean, he had been to Chicago before and other big shows, but he said it was just unbelievable for him.
Literally Chicago times 10.
Oh, unbelievable.
The last time I was there was in 2003, and they've gotten a lot bigger since then, but they were 5 aisles deep and 40 aisles wide.
Maggie Thompson. Oh, yeah. Maggie Thompson of CBG described it in a really unique way. She said, San Diego is the only convention that has its own vanishing point. The horizon.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
To do that. And
when I was gophering for Bernie, and I already mentioned this on the show, if Bernie needed a coffee or a drink or whatever, I would go and get it. And it would take me 20 minutes to a half an hour to be able to wade through the crowd to walk the thing lengthwise.
Wow.
And not stopping.
Man.
That's how big the show was.
Grouping together for a trip, that's something I never considered. That would be a great way to be able to afford to go. If you're all helping shoulder the cost.
Especially if you spend a night at Yellowstone, spend a night at Vegas, and then go to,
I'm not sure I want to go that route.
Oh, have you ever been to Vegas?
No, I've never been there either.
I haven't been there in a long time, too.
Oh, you've been there, Christy?
Christy, it's like an hour and a half drive for her.
4. But
4 hours?
Okay. I've gone into Vegas and Reno, like in Nevada. It's a very interesting thing because the moment you walk in, there's fucking slot machines. There's slot machines.
I heard
at the gas station, at the airport, everywhere. But nothing matches driving down the main big strip because
it's just patchwork.
It's like, and it's not. You can't call them a casino because when you say casino, especially around here, you get a basic idea of just a nice big place. No, these are complexes like you wouldn't believe, and each one's got a different theme.
Well, it also kind of like fucks with your head because how the lighting is, it makes you think it's daytime all the time.
All the time.
You're indoors because they specially did that so you'll gamble all night and all this other shit.
Yes, and that's not even a city that never sleeps. Yeah. That's not even the old strip where all the original casinos were at. The original casinos now have a big light canopy that covers them, so it's always daylight there.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a really interesting thing. I mean, Vegas is kind of fun because of other shit other than gambling. Funny enough, I'm not into gambling. I really am not. Like, it just actually kind of bores me. But I like fucking around. Like, I like walking around in the casinos because it's just kind of neat because sometimes they'll have art stuff, they'll have shopping, they'll have nice eateries. So there's more stuff to do than gambling.
The most decadent places you have ever been in. I mean, you walk into the Mirage, they've got this big glass display where they're keeping, or back when we were there, they were keeping the white tigers. They're on display. You walk into the MGM Grand, and there's huge marble type statues you walk into the Venetian, you go up to the second floor. It's one great big mall that's patterned after Venice with guys in gondolas.
Well, the thing
gondolas
is,
and
Lage,
paddling around, just insane. Outside Mirage, when we were there was a huge volcano.
Yeah, no. The thing is that
went
it's
off on the
opulent. Like those other ones are old. You actually want to go to the Aria, the Bellagio.
See, and I haven't been there.
So all these other,
is the Golden Nugget still there?
And the old city, yeah.
The Golden Nugget.
I'm pretty sure it's still there. Yeah,
I think it's still there, but it's like barely looked at. I mean, you want to go to Paris, like those are the newest ones, and they're all kind of crammed together. Like it's sort of impossible, or you don't think it's possible that they can be all together in the same space because they're so massive.
It's literally about a 15-minute walk, but you walk outside of the casino and you're hit with like 106 degrees.
Not only that, but it's like also they stack the casinos. Like there'll be 3 casinos to one company, like the Aria, Bellagio, and some other company. I think they're all one company. Mm-hmm. So they intersperse it like with other companies. It's really weird. But then now what it is that some of them will charge for parking. So see which ones you can park at for free.
Wow.
You just get a room at one and you walk the entire strip.
Yeah. You were going to say something, Mitch? I think
what I would love to do if I ever get, both the money and the time to do it is follow the route that Hunter S. Thompson took when he was writing Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh,
because I would love
66?
To do that.
Route 66?
Yeah, I think, and visit some of the hotels, which I don't know if some of them are still there or not, but because I love that book and movie.
Most of them aren't, but yeah. Most of them were dilapidated when Thompson wrote the book.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Probably when Thompson wrote the book, a lot of the other casinos didn't exist.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Well, that would again. Now with San Diego, you guys were saying earlier about some of the news out of San Diego, or some of the goings on from some of the people that were there, and I've been seeing a lot of reunion photos on Facebook from people that are there, and they're like they haven't been there since 2 years ago, and
at least, yeah.
And they're a lot of people hitching back together again and enjoying the convention,
sure.
again that they hadn't been to for 2
right.
years.
Well, that's kind of why it was crazy. That's what Christy said, that it was just, it was an insane but busy time. Yeah.
Yeah, they had these cul-de-sacs. They usually say, get the fuck out of there and just like, don't be in there, for, I guess, fire marshal or whatever. But what ends up happening is that they were all there. They were all hanging out in there and fucking was crowded.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was, I heard were the crowds back to normal numbers?
I mean, I've heard the numbers be 135 to 160K. And some people were like, oh, well, they weren't selling out as much. I said, I don't know, man. Like, we were fucking like crazy busy.
Jesus.
Like, a lot of the booths were fucking slammed. Like, even people that would normally come visit me. And we were used to the crowd in San Diego and selling there. Like, literally, we could not leave.
Yeah.
That's what I've always wanted to try is to get there and just do sketches. I mean, and try and.
But it's so huge. The first thing you want to do is go walk around, and then you get lost.
Oh yeah, man.
And then you can spend 3 days there and never see the same thing.
Oh, yeah. I know that's, but I figure with that kind of numbers of crowd, 140K, 160,000, K. I keep thinking, everybody that talks about going there that does sketches, they're swamped. I mean,
if they can find you.
Yeah, I'm just like this.
Even if just strangers work across your table, everybody seems to want to get a sketch or a drawing or whatever.
Well, some of my friends were like, my late thing is that they said, dude, can you go get me an exclusive? And I start laughing. I'm like, no, I will not get a fucking exclusive.
Yeah. No, good luck there.
Holy shit. Like, I don't want to go around and really buy shit from people, not because, but to me, like, I don't really want to have a lot of shit in my house. I actually got an Alex Pardee shirt, but that's because I actually like this design and I wasn't able to get it the last time.
Okay. Now, did you go, Christy?
She set up.
Oh, you were at San Diego. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I sold out of 4 comic books, 4 lines.
Oh, how many copies of each?
Oh, they varied. One of them was at least 20, 30 copies of She Sucks, Demon Bitch. I had a few copies left like they never sell out that fast. But lately She Sucks has been selling out like crazy. Murder of Crows, I had like 10 copies. I didn't think I would move them that fast, but they were fucking eaten up in a day. Sepulchre, I didn't have that much because I didn't have that much time in between to replenish. But I had a few copies left. I sold out of those. And then the last one, Personal Monsters, which I ordered a fuck ton because I always do it. They sell out, and I sold out of all of them virtually.
That's amazing. Now, see, it's just because there's such a massive amount of people. I mean, it's your chances of selling out or selling quite a bit is pretty good.
No matter what you take. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be that again. That's why I would like to go and get a full slate of my art prints and have sketches ready to go, and that'd be awesome to try that. But now that would only probably work if we could split the cost of going, because going on our own, just like me and Susie, I don't know. I can't imagine what the cost would be.
You'd have to save up for it, and then you're taking a big risk on the expense, even still,
yeah.
just to break even. Once everything's done, because it's expensive.
I imagine.
You can do it right, but you have to kind of do it smart. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Now, did you go on your own, Christy, or did you share a trip?
Well, I mean, I kind of shared a table, but some people like went out with COVID, so we kind of took over a table, like another table. Like my table mate, he had some different stuff, so he just she set his shit out.
And it's just 3 or 4 hours away from where you are, anyway, right?
Yeah. San Diego's like 3 to 4 hours away.
Oh, so you could drive down.
She's on the West Coast, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize you were out that far. Oh, okay, gotcha. That's why you and me, Randy.
It's the wonders of the internet, Scott.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, but like you, me, Jason Moore, a couple other people, Mark Bloodworth, maybe just. We'd all hate each other by the time we got home, but we could do it.
Oh, hey, I'm
well, I would highly recommend get drinks and food to leave at the table to snack on, because during the day it's not worth it to go get the con food. It's not just the con price; it's just the fucking the lines you have to stand in.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Do not waste your fucking time doing that. Like I say, come a day or two before preview night, set up, get your shit, and.
And even load in is insane because it's all union. You have to take your stuff out of your car, put it on a pallet, wrap the pallet, stick your number on it, and wait.
Well, no,
tell them you're ready.
You can do load in. You can do load in fine.
Well, you can carry it in yourself if you can, but the union guys don't want you to make more than 2 trips.
Wow,
else that's their responsibility.
Shit about that. They just want you to go into the actual approved areas because that's where they laid down the carpet. But I swear to God, like there was this one time where there was almost riot because like they were not laying down the carpet. It was kind of a cluster and people were getting mad and people were starting to shove, which was not good. And they opened up the door next to us because at first they were like, oh yeah, we're going to go and like let all these people in. Like we were like, hey dude, we've been waiting there. And then they opened the door next to us and like, let's just go. So we just left.
Right. Oh, wow.
Yeah. But some people were acting like jerks. Like they were trying to shove and it's like, stop fucking shoving, asshole. You know?
So, you know, my entire setup, I can get on just one dolly and roll it in and then.
Yeah, you're good to go then.
Yeah, you're fine. But I mean, I'm just saying that like up until a certain point, they won't let you go and take in your cart because they have to cover the fucking carpet. You have to go in through the carpeted areas, which is bullshit, but it's like whatever.
Oh, they have to cover the carpet.
Lots of crazy rules. Yeah.
Yeah, the carpet has to be covered.
Wow.
Like they have to put this blue tarp and stuff on it.
Good morning, Mike Jimmy. Mike Jimmy in the house. Good morning.
Hey, Mike Jimmy.
Good morning.
You earlier.
You're doing well. Hope your day goes
lose
well.
Money on my appearance. Oh, you guys want to see the latest thing I finished?
Of course we do.
I showed you the what was the last thing I showed you guys? What was that? It was.
I remember the Wolverine.
I remember the Forever People Artist Edition you said I could have when you were done. That's back there on your table.
That's right.
Yeah.
I won't hold up to that, but yeah, sure. But here's a Hawkman I just did.
Oh, sweet! Look at that. Let me blow that up.
Yeah.
Boom.
Ooh, that's cool, Scott.
That's cool, Scott.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it was fun. And what I did is that I had done this Hawkman pose in the Batman animated style.
Okay.
Way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I'm going to do it as what's that?
Bruce Timm?
Yeah, like a Bruce Timm style. Back when I was doing all that animated stuff for DC licensing.
Yeah.
And I figured I'd take that same pose and I'd do it more realistic and more badass and everything. So that was fun to finish that up. That's just the pencil stage.
You're gonna need to get the reference for your next Hawkman off of the Black Adam movie.
Oh, I know. That trailer is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where was Hawkman in it? I'm trying to remember. Was it a white dude or a black dude? Because no,
he's a black dude in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because sometimes they switch off. Like Hawkman's a white dude, but then he's a black dude.
Oh, yeah, but the scene where he expands out his wings and attacks Black Adam. Oh my God!
The visuals amazing. On that are incredible. Yeah.
Oh my really God!
And I love the idea of Pierce Brosnan playing.
Dr.
Fate. Just crazy.
Fate. Oh, that's genius casting. Oh my God! And
especially at his age, with his acting, just
perfect.
Yeah, and that's Marvel. That's MCU level casting right there.
Oh yeah.
Old MCU.
He said,
old MCU. Yeah.
Well, Brosnan said some months back when they were just releasing little tidbits about the movie coming up, he said that after he did 5 Bond films, at the time, biggest films ever, all the huge budget, he says the Bond films to him, the experience of doing those compared to the experience of doing Black Adam, he says it was like shooting an 8mm in somebody's backyard.
Yeah.
Compared to what they did with Black Adam. It was just amazing. And to see him give that type of comparative experience is just, wow. I
would imagine it's easier to put on a tuxedo than to have to wear that Dr. Fate uniform.
Oh, I know. But man, I love the fact that he stepped right up and
once he puts that helmet on, could be anybody, but
really, thank God for CGI.
So Dr. Fate, is he kind of like DC's answer to
Doctor Strange? Oh yeah, definitely.
That's what I think. They kind of
the other way though. Dr. Fate is a way earlier character than Dr.
Okay, so I mean they pony off each other. They switch off. Like Slade was supposed to be like Deathlock and all this other shit. Like
you have Namor and Aquaman
the whole time.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Fate is probably even more as a greater power level than Doctor Strange because he's like this cosmic entity almost. And he's just, it's going to be awesome to see what they do with him there.
And if you've never watched the Young Justice cartoon, I've said this before. It's over on HBO Max. Sit there with episode 1 and you'll be amazed by the time you get to the end of that show, just how good it is. It's probably the best superhero cartoon series they've ever done.
I kind of wanted to go and cosplay as Connor Kent just because I just wanted the black T-shirt and I was feeling fucking lazy.
There you go.
Here, this is my fucking costume. Fuck you.
Yeah, he has a black shirt with the white S symbol, right?
With the red S. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's Con-El, but that was given him by Superman because he was cloned from Superman. But he's really like, literally, he's supposed to be aged to 19, but he's not really 19. They had to accelerate his aging.
Wow.
In the cartoon, he's half Superman, half Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
He's I've heard about Young Justice being a great cartoon. I've never caught it. I've really.
But it's got all of the DCU in it, and the way that they treat Dr. Fate in that is amazing.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, just
really?
the whole show is worth it. There's a couple of parts in there that it gets a little heavy-handed, a little preachy. Halo is different. Halo's a little Muslim girl, but and they go into her life, which isn't a bad thing. But they start getting into pronouns and that kind of political correctness.
Oh, sure.
But for the most part, it's a phenomenal superhero cartoon series that's just second to none. Just beautifully done. And there's parts in there, if you watch it from the start, by like the third or fourth episode, everything starts tying back together. They're like grabbing little bits here and little bits there, and it just gets, the writing on it is really incredibly tight. Justice League's in it, Outsiders are in it. It's just an incredible show.
Wow. You know, I heard that was kind of a little bit of a touch of one of the original Teen Titans shows they did before they
the first run of Titans was serious and off of Wolfman and Perez's stuff, but it was a little cartoony. And then they just went absurdly cartoony because they figured their audience was young kids.
But so they did that Go Titans or something.
And then they did that Teen Titans Go.
They actually aged them appropriately because, like, when I remember Teen Titans, I don't know why I remember like Coriander was 16, but she had like the fucking body of a stripper. I'm like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah. Started playing around early and all of that. Yeah.
And then as they got older, she was like 18, and then they switched her to 21, and then they went back, and then they made her 14, 16. But they made the body at least pretty appropriate to what it is. Like, I think there's one of Coriander when she's 21, but she doesn't look like the stripper body. She actually looks thinner and all this other shit.
Well, Perez knew how to draw proper, hourglass, exaggerated featured women incredibly well. So
I'm not shitting on it. It was good art. I was just like going, whoa! Like I was 6 and I took this off the spinner rack and I opened and she and Dick just had sex or something, and I'm like,
That was when they aged them really quick.
And Perez was always really good at
times past. Here we go.
Perez was always good at portraying the different age levels of the character. He was just a great draftsman.
Well, they did de-age all of them.
For Young Justice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not just for Young Justice. I mean, they aged them back for the comics. They really aged them back for the cartoon.
Now, is Young Justice done in the Bruce Timm animated style, or is it not quite?
No, it's got more anime reference or anime feel to it, but it's more of a serious style.
Yeah, it's a chibi style. Like they had to like
the Titan stuff is chibi style, but the Young Justice is pretty straightforward.
Well, Young Justice is serious, but Teen Titans was kind of anime style, and then the Teen Titans Go is more chibi style.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. Are they still making new Young Justice, or it's
complete? They just finished, I think, their 4th season, and they were putting up one a week, which was really irritating because, like I said, the writing gets tighter as it goes along, and it was getting to the point where it's like, I got to see if Young Justice is up this week. Oh yeah, okay, cool. And you sit there. It's only a half-hour show. You sit there and cliffhanger. Irritating. But they had the last. Pardon?
What's that mean?
I actually like that. The having to wait for the next episode instead of going through the whole season in one day. It's like
sometimes binging is good. Yeah, that's very true too. But it gets so tight towards the end. Like I said, the last season, the opening of the show, and between seasons, there's always a time jump. So sometimes there'll be different characters on different kids that they've picked up on the roster, and stuff's happened with the Justice League, and that they end up getting involved in. They get mad right at the start because the Justice League is not treating them as adults. They're treating them like little kids because they grew up as their sidekicks.
Gotcha.
So like Arsenal or Speedy gets upset and leaves. And then there's a whole thing with him that comes back like in season 2 and 3 that picks up with them. They have characters die and move on. They have characters disappear for episodes, and then they figure out where they're at, and then they have to go get them. And it's just really well done.
Do they run a pretty continuous narrative stream through it without having the one big story? Or
no, there's usually one big story per arc, except for this last season. There's so many characters that they come in because it's everybody in the DCU is in this thing. They end up going off on like little 3 to 4 to 5 episode arcs with different characters.
Okay.
But the last season's called Phantoms, and it all ties into, there's something that happens with Aqualad and Aquaman and Mira, and in Atlantis, there's something that happens with Rocket that she gets involved with in a storyline. They show all of these characters at the start. There's a great Zatanna arc in it that's just amazing. Also with her dad and Dr. Fade and all of this. I'm really impressed by the work on the show, because growing up, you're never expected to see this kind of stuff in
how did you like it, Mitch?
I haven't seen the HBO Max stuff because they canceled it when it was on Cartoon Network. That's the one I saw.
Yeah, much to their detriment. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That was one of those dumb decisions they made, was canceling that.
Oh, they have a bad misconception of what their audience is. They always have. That's been a big problem up there. And then they get people up there that think, oh, we're a kiddie show channel, and and that blows it even farther. Even in Adult Swim has been just horrible, just atrocious lately.
Oh, the past few years.
But if you get HBO Max, you will zoom through that show like it's in half hour slots. They just finished their 4th arc, their 4th season. 3rd season, they bring all the outsiders in. There's a big division in the Justice League that happens, and half of the league walks. Billy Batson, Captain Marvel, Shazam is in it. And that's a whole nother storyline. Mary Marvel's in it for a short period. That's a whole nother storyline. They haven't brought Black Adam in, but they can. They probably will here eventually.
Yeah.
But Christy has to say something.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
Christy.
No, I just got to go take off. But you guys have a good night.
Oh, Christy, before you go, let folks know how they can find you.
Go find me at Linktree at Horror Studios. That
awesome.
It's right there on that line. Horror Studios.
Right there.
Go take a look. You're gonna want Triggered. Gotta move some books around now. Demon Bitch Triggered.
That's right.
Out there. Are you gonna do another campaign soon?
Well, my brain decided to go do it. It's called It's the Sepulchre one.
Okay.
And I'm going to do a tarot deck called Murder Ballad. So we're going to see how that goes.
Cool.
Awesome.
Okay.
I love tarot decks.
Christy, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for your San Diego report. Deeply appreciate you. Take care. We're all going to be out of here anyway. We're over our 2-hour mark, so it's time to move along. So.
All right. See you guys.
Take care. Take care, Christy. We'll see you soon. Mitch, tell folks where they can find you.
You can find me here at Linktree/Celtic Cross Studios, where you can find all my stuff.
Is there another campaign in your future?
There is. When I get the Southern Gothic trade back, printed and sent off, I'm going to I'm restarting the Boger series as an ongoing. So the first issue will be my official next campaign, which will come probably within the next few months.
Sweet.
Hopefully.
Awesome.
Scott, tell folks how they can find you.
I'm hanging around
You might want to introduce yourself first, just in case.
For anybody who...
Since you came in late, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. Scott Rosenbaum, longtime pro in the industry. Marvel, DC, Archie, Warner Brothers, Disney, Valiant, TSR, all kinds of places. Cartoon Network, DreamWorks. You can find me at my Facebook page. Just go to Facebook, look up Scott Rosenbaum. My mug is right there. It looked like Steve Reeves.
I'm sorry, Christy. I just saw your notes in the chat. Yeah. Don't.
So you can find me there. And next time I show up at this somewhere around here, I want to talk about how I can get a crowdfunding going, because I have no idea how to really make it work successfully. And I'm going to need that, or I'm going to continue my Errantry comic book into more than just one issue. So I'm going to be open for suggestions or people who want to lend a hand or whatever. So
sweet. We can talk about that when you and I are at the really cool Comic-Con coming up in August 6th and 7th here in Flint, Michigan, at the Dordt Federal Event Center or whatever. It's right off of I-69 and Court Street. You can see it from the road. Great big sign. They're already advertising it. Can't wait to go. They I just got a notice, an email from Mike yesterday saying that their ticket sales are about 20% higher than what they were last year. And last year was a great time from what I understand. I hadn't been there, but it's the first show I will be doing in about 3 years.
Yeah, that's going to be good. And just Google really cool Comic-Con. I'm sure you find all kinds of info.
Yeah, it's on Facebook. They have an event page over there where they're putting up notices, or go over to, I think it's reallycoolcomiccon.com. It's simple to see. And we're on there as guests. Bill Morrison's going to be there. Mark Bloodworth will be there as well. And they might even add one or two more people before the show.
Sure, a lot of fun. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm bringing Arrow Comics back, despite this fiasco of a deal that went through. We're going to be printing more stuff. I'll have limited copies of Paragon #1 and Calico #1 there at the show, as well as the other Arrow products that were offered in the Long Shots campaign and the Fellowship of the Indies campaign. We'll be selling them there individually at cover price, of course. So
awesome.
You're not going to get the deal that we gave everybody on the campaigns, but you can still swing by and pick them up. I'll autograph them if you want. No charge for the autographs.
That'd be excellent.
And then we can talk comics and stuff. So swing by. Yeah. The next time go ahead.
It'll be a fun time. Everybody show up.
It's I'm pretty excited. Looking forward to being there. Next time you'll be able to catch me is on Sunday mornings. It's Sunday at 9 a.m. for the Sunday Funnies, where we talk about the more lighter side, probably not as an adult of a discussion that we had here today, but we'll talk more, hopefully more positively about the art form that we love. We didn't even get around to the article that I found that the rumor is that all of those comics over on Substacks have fallen through. So, and that the main guy who was in charge of that has been sacked.
Oh boy.
But, just rumor though. Just rumor.
Well, we'll go.
I picked that up off of Rich Johnson over at Bleeding Cool. Yeah, at Bleeding Cool. Awesome. You mentioned that. We did talk about the announcement Dark Horse had about the Richard Corbin hardcover series that they will be doing.
Yes. I heard about that.
Slip covers, collections of Richard Corbin for $40 a hit in hardcover. Can't wait to see those too. Those will be coming out in 2023. Actually, time to save a little. I'm amazed that they're not going out there and crowdfunding those, because they're going to be pretty books.
Oh, they're going to fly off the shelves. Oh,
they will.
Awesome.
That's really good for the retailers though, because they need some stuff like that right now.
If you're interested, put in your request at your retailer now, because
I don't think it's on the solicitations yet, but it will be shortly. So as soon as they get closer to production, I think the first ones are coming out March or May. I don't even remember the name of the book now, but it was really good. Murky World. Yes, thank you, Mitch. Den will be the second one in the series, the collected Den volume, slipcase. Yeah.
Amazing.
And good on Dark Horse for making them inexpensive and accessible for because not everybody's got $40. Definitely not everybody's got $100.
Yeah,
like those crazy omnibuses that Marvel kicks out anymore.
Yeah, and IDW's like artist editions. Oh my god,
those are 125, 150 a piece.
Yeah.
But good on Dark Horse for making that stuff accessible and obtainable for the folks.
Very, very good product.
The EC cover artist edition that IDW put out. Man, I was wanting that thing. Then I saw the price on it.
Mm-hmm.
All that Graham Ingle work and
Jack Davis.
Oh,
I got it. I got them all in hardback with the Russ Cockrum editions. They're all slip cased per title, and it is as beautiful as you think. All of the cover or all of the color is stripped off. The stats were shot off of the originals before they auctioned it off one story at a time.
Oh,
Bill Gaines had a vault that he kept all of the original art for all of the EC stuff in. They let it out and they shot photostats of it, and then they put everything up for auction one story at a time. You had to buy or you had to bid on an entire story. So the original art pages went really expensive. Christy, you was going to say something?
No, I just gotta go.
Okay. All right, Christy. Yeah, we do too. We're all going to take off here. We're just
all right.
Talking. You start me talking about comics, and here we go.
Okay, I'm going to scoop myself too. I got stuff I got to get done for too.
Well, let me finish off the show first. We want to thank everybody for being here. This has been the ZimmCast for the 27th of July. We'll see you in August, and again, the ZimmCast will be coming to you at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So adjust your schedules accordingly. We're still going to be archived over at the Raging 2 channel.
Okay. Awesome.
As we always are. So we hope you'll go through, and all of the ZimmCasts are up there. So if you want to go through our archive there, you're more than welcome to. And if you get a chance, if you haven't subscribed yet, do go over and subscribe to the Raging 2 network. We're still under monetizing. We've got the views. We just don't have the subscriber monetization. So go over there and subscribe now. Hit the bell for notifications so that we can get monetized, start taking super chats, and
awesome.
You know, that the network will make a little bit of money. And remember, everybody, Meatball doesn't work that way. Meatball doesn't work that way. We're going to see each other again next week, next Wednesday night here for the ZimmCast. We wish you the best week. Take care of yourself. We'll see each other then. Anybody have any final words?
Nope.
Should
see you later.
Make sure you go out there and buy alternative and independent comics, especially ours. And I'll have a campaign running here pretty soon. We're probably going to run an Arrow Comics campaign. We're going to be offering the new books, so stay tuned for that. We'll talk more about that later. We're running late now, so we need to go.
Okay.
All right, everybody. We'll see you soon.
See ya.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
And who's your favorite Marvel Comics hero? Mine is Superman. Remember the motto? With great power comes great responsibility.
New player! And then this class. I work too hard. I got my money back. New player!
Do you draw the Flintstones naked? There's a market for that.